Good evening, Keepers of the Cash. Gary B, the casual comic guy here, and tonight I don't have one co-host, I have two. But joining me as always on Thursday, we have Digger Jim. How you doing tonight, sir?
Doing good, sir. Doing good.
And making his co-hosting debut on In the Hot Seat, we have none other than DVH himself, Dr. Von Hoots. How are you, sir?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
I'm doing well. And while we got you on, I hear that you might have a little 200 subby contest going. You want to speak about that for a moment?
Yeah. So we managed to hit 200 subscribers, which I'm really happy about. And tomorrow night here, over there, I want to say it's like 6 o'clock. That sounds right. But tomorrow I'm going live and just do a little giveaway. Say thank you to my subscribers. Be in the chat because it's just going to be a matter of, picking something from the chat.
Nice.
Should be good.
Well, congrats on 200.
Thanks very much.
I'm going to tell you something. Gary. Put the four block people. Put the four
block.
All right. Okay. Listen. If you're going to be the host of a show, you need to start getting coordinated with your blocks. Okay. First of all, you got to swap me out. Yeah, well, yes, you do. You listen to me. I know what I'm talking about. Yeah. Everything that comes out of my mouth is gold. You want to hear this? So
fool's gold.
So you have to flop me over with Dr. Van Hoots. Flop me over in spots. Go ahead, do it. Come on. Do it. Flop me over. Then flop yourself over with Dr. Van Hoots. There you go. Now we feel a little bit more.
Are you saying that you don't want me to make you big for the whole show?
You could make it any way you want, but if we're gonna have these 4 block screens at any points, you want to at least be coordinated. If I'm gonna wear a red shirt and you're gonna wear a red shirt, we at least have to have that, be cognizant of that. It's all fun to look at me. If we're gonna do a look at me, you gotta do a proper look at me.
Both right. We're one person. Look at that.
Yeah, that's what he's saying. You gotta coordinate.
Yeah.
Man, I feel bad for Dr. Von Hoots because I don't know where your head's crowning, Jim.
I like the version. I don't want to dominate and take away your and be judgmental of your hosting. By the way,
I don't care.
Well, yeah. Of course you don't care because you decided to wait this long to put me in the hot seat. How does
it took you this long to pay me?
How does Gary B? Wait, well, listen. I would have paid you 2 years ago. No problem. But now you know that the roles are reversed. Now you got to pay the journey to get him on. Now I'm a celebrity.
Right?
It took you this long to get me on. Now you got me on. You know what? I got my cigarettes with me. Okay, I got my cigarettes.
So now that we have you on, why don't you introduce yourself real quick to the audience before we say hi to the chat and give them a little bit of who you are?
You gonna embiggen him? You gotta embiggen him now.
All right. You can do anything you want. All I'm saying is when it's blocked out,
it's the best.
No, it's just they switched the buttons on me. I'm still getting used to the buttons. If you watch the last 2 lives I did with Stephanie, you'll hear me complaining about them. They switched the format on this, and it still has me screwed up.
That's funny.
Okay, so you want me to talk? All right,
Yeah,
I'll talk.
The floor's yours, man. When do you need an invitation to talk? You just go right ahead.
All right, listen. I got my cigarette. I got my coffee. I brought Punchy over. I brought the Kool-Aid Man over. We're ready for your hot seat. I don't know what kind of fire you're gonna put in my ass right now, but I'm here for it. For the people that don't know me, then you go out and find out who I am because I'm freaking Comic Journey and you're not. All right, so you're gonna find out what goes on and ticks in my head a little bit today. And if you really want to know more of the madness, then you can see some of the content that I make, and it's a little different. Okay, so that's it.
It is, but how long have I been following you now? What, 2 years almost?
Has to be.
Roughly, and I will say this much: I will give credit where credit is due, and part of the reason why, part of the fault for me being somewhat involved with this community is because of Gary B.
Yeah, you would have got there all by yourself. I had nothing. I had anything to
Possibly,
do.
but he's the one that decided to shout me out and said we're gonna grow together. And all of a sudden, everybody discovered my channel, and they really started groaning at that point. So, yeah, there you go. I give credit where credit's due.
Hashtag blame Gary.
Yeah, blame Gary because he's absolutely right, Gary. Because I remember when you shouted him out, and I said, "Let me check this guy out." And you were doing a live, CJ, and you were opening up these, mystery boxes or something, and there was a Conan in there, and I made a comment about, oh, Gary would like that book, and you were like, "Yeah, I know Gary B. And I was like, he's like, and I'd never even seen you before until he shouted you out. I was like, I got to check this guy out. And then you got that one. It was one pack from an eBay seller, and I'm trying to remember it was something weird about it. Either it had nudie girls or something in it. I don't remember. It was funny though the way you did it.
I got a lot of weird shit that came to me from eBay.
All right, well, let's put all our weird
I open
a second. And let's say hi to the chat.
Hello, chat.
We had first in beating Las Cruces was Madam Blaster. Good evening, Stephanie. Thanks for stopping in to say hi. Las Cruces himself. Good evening, James. We have Matthew from Comics by the Bay. Good evening, sir. Well, Bora's in here. Always nice to see you. Tony from Comiverse. How are you, sir? Thank you for showing up. John Stout. Nice to see you. Thank you very much. Justin from No Good Comics. Good evening, sir. Marcus is here. Good evening, Marcus. Nice to see you, buddy. Thank you for coming by. Cali Comics, another person I want to get in the hot seat.
Yes.
Brian LCS. Nice, Brian. How you doing tonight, sir? We're going to go through this quick. Kenneth Bird. Good evening, Kenneth. We have the chat is already hopping here. All right, Couching and Slouching with C. Bizzle. Good evening, sir. And if you guys didn't check out his 1011, please check it out. It was incredible. He did an awesome job, and he had awesome books. Pocan Joe, how you doing tonight, sir? And we are getting there. And all right, I guess we have to talk to CJ again, so that's what we'll do. So, all kidding aside, CJ, let's get into some questions because aggressively relaxing. I don't want to forget him. How you doing? And
David, Matt Woods
and Matt Woods. Matt Woods. Yep. Good evening. All right. So CJ, one of the things that is prevalent in the community that talks about CJ is that everybody has an opinion of who you are and what it is you're about. So I kind of wanted you to dispel some of the common misconceptions of who you are as you see it through the community.
Well, how many hours is the show going to go? Because there's a lot of misconceptions about me.
Until Dr. Von Hoots passes asleep over there on us.
Okay.
We're keeping the poor guy up. It's already 1 a.m. where he's at.
So tell me some of these misconceptions that people misunderstand me by. Like what do people
like your whole look at me movement? Like I think there's a lot of misconceptions as to the real meaning behind it. So I thought you might start with that and explain what your true meaning for the look at me was. Some of the people use it, but they don't really understand it.
Oh, well, actually, the look at me movement is actually one of the it's one of the things that have personally amused me more than anything else that I could. I think it's one of my top, maybe my top thing that has amused me being on the YouTube and being part of the community. And at the same time, it is something I'm also proud of, being the one that kind of like started this look at me thing. Not that I'm like being arrogant that I started it, whatever the case is, because everybody was doing look at me's before I showed up on YouTube. However, when I started going on and calling people out and started hashtagging look at me, a lot of people thought that it was me basically saying like look at me, like look at me, look at Comic Journey, I'm freaking awesome. Like no, it was a little bit tongue in cheek, and it was a little bit backhanded to a lot of channels, because a lot of channels make really shitty content. like really, 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 really shitty content. And I would go on there, even though I liked they had a good personality or there was something that's interesting about them, their content were really, really bad. So I started going one by one to people's channels and basically telling them, listen, you got to step up your look at me. If I'm going to be watching you, you need to freaking if you're going to do a look at me, because that's what we all do right now. We're all doing a look at me, but egos aside, we're all doing. If we didn't want to do a look at me, we'd have a phone call conversation without being on YouTube, talking and bullshitting with each other. No, we want to be seen and we want to be, brag and whatever the case is. That's what everybody that's doing YouTube does. Not everybody wants to admit to it, but that's what everybody at YouTube is doing. So that being said, I want everybody to step up their production, their quality, their bring out their charisma in one way or another. And the reason I'm proud of it is because I kept calling people over and over and over and over and over again. They started to step up their product. They started to make better videos. They started to be self-conscious. They started to be a little bit afraid that if they did a shitty one, I would call them out again. And it was great. It was great. I don't know. I kind of stepped down on that a little bit. I need to.
No, but you replaced it with the thank you police.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I get bored. So if I'm doing something over and over again, and we're kind of seeing things going on, then we're going to bring out the thank you police. And I started watching videos that they don't thank you at the end of the video. So I'm like, no. Listen. If I'm going to watch your freaking video, if I'm going to sit there and be freaking miserable for another 20 minutes or whatever, or watching your misery, you better say thank you at the end to me, and to everybody else that sat through your misery as well. And the funny thing is, when I actually brought that up, some people got freaking offensive about it. I'm like, dude, is there something wrong with saying thank you? What's wrong with it? Like, what society are we in that we can't say thank you to people? So
you know what's funny is when I'm making videos now, Dan, I subconsciously hear his freaking voice and I go, thank you for watching my channel, and as always, keep digging. And I'm like, God darn it, CJ. And I swear to you, I kid you not, I hear your voice in my head going, say thank you, by the way.
And
because I don't think I did. And I feel kind of ashamed now.
A lot of people didn't realize it. They didn't realize it. A lot of people like to end with their cute quote or catch line, like
sure.
Keep it.
What are you talking about? Keep it casual.
Yeah.
I have no idea. Keep digging.
Keep digging. That could have a lot of meanings, by the way. But I call it. I can't even tell you how many. Every time I hear you say "keep digging," like how many things of. Let's not get into my mind.
Yeah, let's not get into that.
Yeah, so
he'll get that wedgie out sometime.
That's why I take a little bit of pride. Yeah, well, yeah. I call it. That's why I take a little bit of pride, because now I got into people's heads. Now they're saying thank you to each other. I'm creating a better society by doing this thing. People are actually more polite to each other by doing that. By me being rude and obnoxious to people, people are starting to become nicer to each other. Wow, what a concept! I don't know. This is what happens when you get divorced and you don't have like a wife at home all day, stuff like that. You start to get bored and you think of things, and these are the things I start to think of.
Nice. Well, it worked on me. I mean, in my head, I was like, "Damn it, CJ just told me to thank people." And I went back and looked at some of my videos. I'm like, "Damn, he's right. I don't say thank you. That's bad." I mean, that's bad. So
someone had to call Jim out on it sometime. He's always had such an ego.
I'm gonna confess. I mean, it's just.
Believe me, you're not the only one. I was doing it like I was actually rating channels. I was going one by one. I'm like, did they say thank you? No, they didn't even freaking say thank you. They didn't even rate it. They didn't even say I appreciate you or anything. Like, thanks.
DVH, I know this is your first time as a co-host, so if you have a question, you just got to barge right in, dude. Don't be.
Yeah, I know. The trouble is, like, CJ's quite a force, and I also watch you guys all the time. So all I'm gonna do is watch you guys and sit here.
Well, how about
Pretty
you
much.
stop watching it? You participate. I'll tell you something, Von Who. You Brits, you are more proper people. So
Well, I mean,
figure-
I agree with you in so much as like it's always polite to say thank you, and
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with
Cheers.
what you said. I think
Hey, well, you
probably
can say
it's
cheers.
just because you said it that people got a bit annoyed about it. Like it's just because of your personality.
Well,
People
it's just
up
like
your
when I
way.
started saying, "Look at me," to people. Like, no,
Mm.
I'm not. I'm doing this for fun. Bullshit! You're doing this for fun. Yeah, you might fun might be part of it, but your freaking ego wants everybody to watch you.
Well, I don't
That's
think
why
it's
you're doing it.
I don't
You
think much ego is also you don't want to put the time and effort in and then look on there and go, wow, nobody watched it.
Well-
Nobody looked at it. You know, it's like painting a beautiful, piece of art and then putting it in the closet for nobody ever to see.
Isn't that amazing? A lot of times you watch these videos that they're very well done, but the person is dry as freaking toast when you're listening. You want a freaking narcolepsy. You have insomniac theater at night times. I watch their channels. I fall asleep. I don't need any sleeping pills. I don't need anything. So and then they're crying. They're sitting and crying. Oh, please like and subscribe. Nobody watched my channel. They're like 3 watches on there, 3 views, and all 3 of them are like him, his mom, and his fake alias account. Those are the 3 views. And then they're and then they're crying. They're sitting and crying. Oh, nobody watched it. Well, you know what? How about you make yourself somewhat entertaining? Or how about this? When you're showing off, I don't know what the fuck. I have a garbage pail kid. Like, let's say I'm showing off garbage pail kids. Okay, all right. I'm showing you this freaking card over here, and I don't say anything. I don't say anything. Like, look. That's what the video is. You know what I'm saying? How many times could you watch this? Look! I made it entertaining. It was upside down. Now it's this way. Now it's that. Hey, you know what? If you're gonna at least say nothing in a very creative way. Put a freaking song behind it. Put something. Put some graphics that are shooting it. I don't know. Do something. Or at least talk about it. I bought this because I like it. People like stories.
Right.
So people would get like, oh, freaking bent out of shape. Well, I'm an introvert. You know what? Take the camera, cut your head off like I do, and now you're an extrovert. Now you're not an introvert anymore. Nobody knows who you are. Wear a freaking mask. Now you're entertaining. Do something.
DVH.
What do you say? I missed it.
No, he's shrugged because he wears a mask because that's his gig.
That's his gig.
You know what? That's the thing. Like
You gotta have a stick.
Do something to if you want people to engage with you, to embrace you, to enjoy your content, put something.
I think it's important for everybody to remember when they're making videos that it's a visual medium, and if you want people to engage with it, it has to be interesting-ish to look at. Like if they didn't want that, then they'd be listening to a podcast, really, wouldn't they? So you've got to put some effort into that. So I get what CJ's saying, and I too have watched many videos with like very poor picture quality, or I'm not talking about editing because not everybody can edit and stuff. And by no means are my videos well edited. That I do put a little bit of effort into them, but like I'm not great at it. Like say DJ Links is amazing at editing. He's fantastic, and I think it's important that when people create content, they need to remember that it's a visual medium. I know I already said that, but I repeat myself all the time.
Listen to the guy that's dressed like a freaking fever nightmare over here.
He's a Mao, a man owl.
He's a man owl.
Half man, half owl.
That's the perfectly. Von Hoot is the perfect example. He made a very creative name. He's from the freaking spiral dimension. What the fuck is a spiral dimension? But you got me intrigued that you're from there. You're wearing a mask with a bow tie. What the hell is this? You got me intrigued. You visually have me stimulated right now. So that enough is going to get me to at least watch the first few minutes. And as I'm watching the few minutes going into it, you are doing more, then it's going to keep me watching the whole video, and that's the whole point I'm trying to make. You thought you were going to put me in the hot seat. I'm putting the freaking comic community in the hot seat right now.
Well, don't worry, you're gonna get more because I got more questions for you. So you got to listen up a second.
All right,
you got to shut that yapper and take a question.
all right.
So one of the things that I like about you, and you and I have always talked openly, but what I like about you is you're very observational within the community, right? But you can't be observational within any community without mass butt hurt because people like to be offended these days. So rather that was like you like to poke buttons, but you're doing it with an agenda to make things better for the community. So rather than calling out memberships that you disagree with or calling out thank yous, you're a guy that looks to identify what you view as a problem and bring it to public notice. Would you say that's accurate?
Well, you know what? I like to talk about things that are blatant. They're in front of everybody. A lot of people are, buzzing in the background, or they're whispering to each other in their private chats, but they're not talking about it publicly. And why not? Why not? Why? We rather talk about Clayton Crane stealing some guy's wife and have a whole controversial conversation about that.
I skipped all those videos. I didn't give anything about those.
No, but you get what I'm saying? We're talking about the gossip, but we have stuff that's, directly affecting our community. Oh, we have a small community. We're not a big. You know what? It's because you got freaking tunnel vision. That's why you got a small community. And by the way, the community is not small. It's massive. It's massive. The people with the tunnel vision, they're basically just looking through the little, the little telescope and trying to get to that one spot only. It's just very strange. It's a very strange situation. And don't get me started on the memberships. Like, I got my opinions about the memberships. If you're going to give a membership out, you better freaking give some value with the freaking membership. If you're not giving any value and you give me a shitty emoji, and that's all you're going to give out, and you charge you $4.99 or $9.99 for your membership, you better not cry about people not joining your membership, because I could go get Netflix for the same freaking price and watch endless amounts of garbage. And
endless amounts of well-produced garbage.
Yes.
Yeah, well, at least I'm getting my money's worth. You know what I'm saying? I'm getting my words. I'm not going to just get a guy going this. And this is what I got today. Yeah. And happy new comic book day. Okay. All right, that's it. And join my membership, because I have 2,000 subs, and I have all my Alias account made those subs, but now I have a membership. So please pay for my memberships to make me a gazillion dollars, because that's why I came into YouTube. But I'm not going to say that. I'm only going to pretend that that's the case. That I'm here for the hobby. And look at my card again. Those are the people that irritate the shit out of me. Sorry, I'm cursing. I keep forgetting this is prime time. It's not freaking late night hour.
In the hot seat is an open forum, so it doesn't matter. You can swear in the hot seat.
Yeah.
And listen, I'll be really honest. Everybody with shitty content that's out there that is really boring and dry as toast, I apologize for your boredom. But it's not my fault. It's your fault. I'm just pointing it out. Now what you could do to make yourself better is actually improve your quality of content, and then we could all be happy. We could all have lots of good content out there.
We have someone else that jumped in here. Panda's here.
Hey,
welcome in,
what
Adrian.
up, everybody?
Now that's a character. That's something.
What up, CJ? What up, CJ?
You got Madam saying, "I'm looking at the card." You got Kelly Comics saying, "But you can see these videos early."
Oh wait! Guess what?
On who?
I have
How you
this
doing,
card,
Panda?
and I have this card too.
Digger Jim.
What up?
I have two.
I'm
of them.
sorry. I gotta say hi to everybody. Sorry, CJ.
And I
All
have
right,
three
go
of
ahead.
them.
Continue. Go ahead.
No, I'm just making a point. You know how you go on some chats where people talk over each other? That's what I'm just trying to mimic that for people to know how it works. You know?
You got Brian saying, CJ, show the garlic.
You know what? And I know this isn't traditional, but Gary, I mean, we should ask at least one question, like the basic question you ask everyone. What got you into
I'm
comics?
getting there. I'm just letting him get his ranting out before I can ask him real questions. But go ahead, Panda, you ask.
Well, I mean, ranting? Why does everybody think I rant? We're having a conversation right now.
Yeah, I mean, this is normal. I mean, it doesn't faze me a bit. But what got you into comics, CJ? What made you want to explore comics?
I'll tell you what, Jim. I'll answer that question, but first, I want to let Panda finish his thought.
Oh,
we cut him off. We were rude. Let's hear what Panda had to say.
Wait, what? What's going on?
You were saying something, and I cut you off.
Oh shit! I was just saying hi to everybody.
CJ.
I was just saying what's up to everybody. It's been a while since I've been on, so I just saying
where
hi.
the hell have you been? Freaking hiding in a jungle eating bamboo? Where have you been?
Yeah, that's all I've been living off of. I lost I lost about 115 pounds. So
good for you, man.
Congrats.
Yeah, you look fantastic, dude.
Hey, thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. So today is actually a very interesting day because tomorrow, and this is the reason why I felt like today would be a good day to go ahead and be fucking live, because tomorrow in the morning I have my colonoscopy.
Nice.
Hey,
is that your first?
So today's a little dicey to be on live because today is the day that I am cleaning myself out, and today I am sitting using a man pawn. Does anybody know what a man pawn is?
No,
yes.
I can imagine.
Put your feet on it, right?
No, so I'll tell you real quick. It's a real treat for you guys. If you guys haven't heard this trick before, I learned it off of MTV's Robin Big. If you guys haven't seen it, but it's when you have a fart and you can't trust it because things are happening, right? Like this is what I've got going on right now. This is my life right now. You know,
getting completely cleaned out.
I have to.
Can you swap him over to the big screen? Because this is way more interesting than watching me listening to him. I want to see all these products that he's using for that.
This is not what I wanted to do, CJ. This is all about you after this.
Tell us about your ass products, please.
Okay. I'm just letting you know. I'm just letting you know that if I end up having to just jet out of here, you already know why.
Well, you're already jetting somewhere else as well, right?
Oh, please, please give us a moment, a live moment that we could clip and replay forever in YouTube history.
Oh, right. Okay, so let's go ahead and explain what the man pawn is. So, what a man pawn is when you have to fart and you just can't trust that fart. So what you do is you take some tissue, some regular Kleenex tissue. There you go. I like to use about 3 or 4, just because I've got a large ass.
With lotion or without?
This has lotion because I'm pampered. I like Charmin.
Scented or unscented?
Oh, this is just got aloe. So yeah. So what you want to do is you want to go ahead and fold it in half, just like that. Fold it one more time. There you go. Just until you've got that little square. And if you really want to, you could roll it one more time, just like you're doing a stogie or something, right? And then you spread your cheeks and you just shove that in there.
Right, wedge it right in.
So right now I'm being very cautious, very cautious. But yes, so I thought today would be of all days.
We're not next to each other because I would tickle the shit out of you just to make you shit yourself.
Oh, I would enjoy that. I would gladly let you tickle me. Gladly.
And a tickle.
See, this is the kind of look at me that I'm talking about. You know, you have information that's useful to the community.
Ask Marcus what it's like to be tickled by me, or have him.
Well, Marcus is saying he wants off this ride, but at home, Marcus is folding up some tissue right now and putting it between his ass cheeks.
I'll see you here in a couple weeks, buddy.
Now, is this your first colonoscopy?
Yeah, this is my first one. Yeah.
Oh, congratulations!
I have not yet had one, and I'm going on 53. I got to get that done.
Enjoy.
Oh, I was having a lot of problems as I was losing all this weight. For like 3 months straight, I was just every morning throwing up, but it wasn't like food or anything. It like you know when you pour a beer and you've got nothing but the head.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it felt
The
like I
foam.
was just throwing up nothing but foam. I don't know what the fuck that was. So
You gotta cut
They're
down
gonna
on the
shove
That
benzene.
sounds like it should have gone the other way then. You know, like
no.
acid
They're
reflux.
going both ways. I'm just saying I
You're
have to
getting
do
it
a
up and down.
colonoscopy. Yeah. So the first
50.
thing that I did was I asked the
50 now.
doctor. I said, "Well, it's on the same day, right?" She's like, "Yeah." I said, "Okay, well now I know how our economy is, so I know there's only one scope U. So tell me which end goes first, because I know I'll be out. So you guys
Oh,
can
yeah.
just go one end and then wipe it off, go up the other end. I don't know. I have a preference of what end I want first. That's all I'm saying. If I have a choice, that's the choice I want to go with. Is
Oh, you're gonna get some good stuff.
Well, I'm
Right.
really looking forward to you doing a blow by blow after you have it done for us on a live stream, so we could like be educated and learn all
Hey,
about the process.
They're gonna put them under, and they're
Already.
gonna have a private panda party in the doctor's
Yeah.
office.
I was gonna say I've got my wife. I'm gonna have her film the whole thing. I'll go IG live and we'll just do it the whole thing.
Oh no. Oh.
Yes, madam. This is officially the old guys stream now.
Hey,
Back in my day, when I had a strong stream.
Yeah. Right.
Well, have you ever
Hey,
had another
just
hot seat that actually talked about somebody's hot seat? You know,
oh right. No, I'm not even joking. Right now, I'm sitting on a pillow.
Oh, I believe
This
you.
ain't
Oh, no,
no
I'm
joke
sure.
today, guys. This ain't no joke. This ain't no joke.
That pillow's
Has
probably
the-
gonna
has the
make it to
puking
garbage
stopped
at
now,
some
Panda?
point.
Oh, I definitely
Yes,
believe you.
actually, it has. It has. It stopped, but I'm still gonna go ahead and get the.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The,
you
the only
gotta get
reason I
that
ask
done.
is because my wife had something similar throwing up, and it turned out to be a reaction to soya. Like she
To
was
what?
like to soya.
Soy.
Soil.
Soya.
Soya.
Soy?
Soya.
Yeah,
Soya?
soya.
What is that?
It's like
He's speaking.
I don't know
proper
what it
English,
is.
people.
Like,
Yeah,
it's
I'm kind of
it's in
curious.
stuff.
Soya. So I know
Soya.
what he's
Is
saying.
like gluten?
Yeah.
Is this like gluten? Am I allergic to gluten too?
No,
is this what
I
the
mean
fuck
it,
is
it
going
could
on?
be, but like
What is
soya's
gluten?
different. Soya's in a lot of sort of I don't know vegan and vegetarian type stuff. They
Mm.
use it as a
Well, I don't have to
replacement
worry
for,
about that.
and it, like she was regurgitating nothing
Yeah.
sort of thing.
Yeah.
So what? So your wife is a vegetarian then?
No, she's just allergic to loads of stuff. So
Oh,
she's
Yeah.
had to. Yeah, she's allergic to dairy. She's allergic to
oh, I
soya,
see.
to gluten, everything under the sun.
Yeah.
All right, you
Well,
screen
actually,
hogs. Enough. Put me back in the big screen. This is about
there you
me.
go,
all right?
CJ. Come on.
All right, we
Well, all
heard
right.
about we heard about
Hashtag look at
Panda's ass.
TJ.
All right, we heard about Panda's ass right now. We heard about the soya issues with your stomach. What Digger Jim?
All right, but you still haven't answered
I got
Panda's
nothing.
question.
you want
I'm back on to CJ. Yeah, let's go back to CJ.
Now,
What got you
CJ,
into comics?
Panda's
CJ?
question was, what got you into comics?
Yes.
Okay, so all right, so now I'm gonna answer what got me into comics. Well, I was really into comics from a young kid. I mean, I love the image of like all the pictures and before I even could read, I loved picking up the comics and just looking at the pictures. I used to watch the Incredible Hulk TV show with Lou Ferrigno as a kid.
Oh, yeah.
If you ask my mom, she thought I was a lunatic because I would jump up on the table and like rip my
That and
shirt
Wonder
and
Woman.
pretend to be the Hulk when I was a
Right.
kid.
That's awesome.
I love that. I was part. I was born in the 70s, but basically I was an 80s kid. And I grew up in that whole, Amazing Spider-Man and his amazing friends and
Right.
Lou Ferrigno Hulk and Wonder Woman and that era. I was like really into it. So I loved reading comics. I loved drawing. I was really, really into everything from that point. And I'm a very visual guy. Like any kind of media that you could give me that's visually stimulating in some way, it's always going to engage me. So I went through my teens, maybe to late teens, that I was fully collecting. And then life took place at work, girlfriends,
Right.
you
Stuff
know,
and things.
it's not hot taking your date to the freaking comic shop,
Right.
At least back then, when you're 18, 19 years old. So I kind of got out of it. I was buying here and there, then got married, then everything died. My soul died. I call it everything kind of went to the side ways. And over the past few years, like maybe about 5-6 years, my son showed a lot of interest in the comics.
Yeah.
Like showed a lot of interest, so I got naturally interested in comics again. I had whatever was left from my collection because I lost a lot from my original collection, and I started to it was like a father-son kind of bonding thing, which
Right.
actually brought the kid in me back again. My kids found some old art of mine, so it got me drawing again. I'm working on a couple of personal projects right now, that's basically where I am. I mean, I'm not that really far from everybody else as far as the collecting itself is concerned, but it's a product of society.
Sure.
You show Spider-Man over and over again. You show Lou Ferrigno kicking the crap out of people. It's gonna get you. It's gonna get you stimulated to want to be into comics. At least
Right.
that's what it was back then.
Right, I used to love those shows too. Wonder Woman, Incredible Hulk, even the Nicholas Hammond Spider-Man. Just you ate up anything you could get because you didn't get a lot. Even those really bad Captain America
Beastmaster?
TV movies with the
I
plastic.
couldn't get enough of that. Conan the Barbarian. Well, I love
Beastmaster. You guys remember Beastmaster?
Oh,
Yeah.
I used to watch Beastmaster constantly.
I used
Dude,
to
I
watch
wanted to
Beastmaster because
stare
it was
at
on Channel 11 all the time for free. So I used to watch it all the time.
Yeah.
Plus,
Hell
plus Beastmaster had Tanya Roberts, so they had a couple reasons to watch.
Ooh,
I
she
actually
looked
only
like
saw
a
Beastmaster for
Bashina.
the first time about
Yeah, Red
2
Sonja.
years
That
ago.
was
2 years ago. Wow.
But
Yeah,
CJ,
yeah.
with the comics, like when did you start drawing? Because you have a bend towards art as well. What character or what cartoon or media got you actually drawing?
I'll probably. I kept trying to mimic the Hulk, to try to draw Hulk over and over again,
Yeah.
just because that's my favorite character. Plus, it's the least complicated character in my personal opinion compared to other people, other characters to be able to draw. So, just drawing a very over the top, muscular, monstrous man that's colored green with tattered clothes on him, what I felt was a little easier than drawing like a Spider-Man or a Batman or something like that. So I started with that. Then as years went on and I started getting into like certain type of artwork and certain type of I started to really appreciate certain artists more than others, like John Byrne. I loved his X-Men run.
Yeah.
So I started to mimic X-Men as much as I could, drawing Wolverine and all that stuff. And as we go towards the late 80s, McFarlane stuff got me into drawing Spider-Man, and I got into so it was an evolution as I was slowly introduced to more and more type of characters. I started to pick up more and more. But I want to say that my first characters that really got me motivated to want to mimic and draw were the Hulk, Conan was another one. Again, characters that in my mind, now you have other people that argue with me. They're like, no, the other ones are easier because it's like different way of doing it. But for me, it was easier to draw like more human-like characters than like bizarre characters. And I drew monsters. That's the other thing. I love drawing monsters. I still do. Like that's my favorite thing to like really like warped out creatures and like crazy stuff. Like I'm really into that.
Well, monsters are awesome. I love those too. And the great thing about monsters, you can just let your imagination go crazy with it.
And nobody could judge me when I'm drawing a monster or a weird creature because who are you to tell me that one arm can't be 2 feet longer than the other one? It's not, you know.
Have we ever seen one?
No,
Maybe
that's another thing. Why monsters are very forgiving on criticism. You know,
What up, Durs?
anatomically correct doesn't matter when it's you enjoy monsters.
Right. So, what kind of monsters really attracted your attention in media when you were younger? Like, I like a lot of the old black and white ones, like Creature from the Black Lagoon's a favorite of mine.
Again, because of the product of the age that I grew up, my first influences, the ones that I really, really, really like appreciated were Godzilla.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because think about it, late 70s, early 80s, what was like the hype? Godzilla,
Yeah.
King
King
Kong,
Kong.
Ultraman.
Mothras, and all that stuff. And
Right.
slowly but surely, I started getting into. I used to like stay up late at night, and like after my parents would fall asleep, I would run down and go hide and watch the little black and white TV of the creature features that they would do late at night.
Oh yeah.
Right.
So that's where I really discovered a lot of monsters. Like I even caught like Elvira doing like introductions to some like shows where like, oh, by the way, she was freaking hot. I had the freaking biggest crush on freaking Elvira growing up.
I still do.
I'll say she's aged well. She still looks really good.
I saw her over at New York Comic Con. She is pretty hot for her age. She's holding up very well.
About to say, I just saw her about 3 weeks ago at PlanetCon, and telling you, I got a thing for Elvira, man. She's just
listen.
bad.
I got a thing for her, but she's like 73. If I was 80 years old, I'd be all like into her now.
I'm 30 and I'll stick it to her.
I'll
give her the steak. I'll give her the good wooden steak.
That's right. He's gonna run in there and go panda power.
Yeah. Last places I'm gonna stick her is the heart.
you got a bamboo steak just for her, but I call it. I'm
Jackson Roy Kirk.
I again, she's hot still, but she's not the one I grew up with. I grew up with that.
A quick shout out to Highland Comic Bro with the Gamora. Look, you put Zoe Saldana in anything and I'll watch it. It does not matter.
Yeah.
Oh, Losers. She was looking so good in Losers.
Yep.
Remember that with
I do.
So she introduced me to a lot of monsters.
Right.
So then I started.
Are you Kong or Zilla?
I think I'm a Godzilla guy.
Yes.
I knew there was something wrong with you. I knew we were
good choice.
I think I am. I think I am.
Kong.
Because here's
Kong
the
all
thing.
day.
Here's the thing. I never understood if
Gotta go
Godzilla.
on island.
Listen, if Godzilla throws his fire at a monkey, the monkey's hair should go catch on fire.
Yeah, right.
Shouldn't he be running like on fire, trying to jump in the ocean to cool himself off? Like something.
I'm Kong all day, but I am the first one that will agree that's an uneven fight. Kong will get his ass burnt by Godzilla all day, every day.
Gary, I'll go ahead and squash this whole beef. Listen, Godzilla has been terrorizing my people for centuries. Okay? Listen, I'm telling you. And if I'm still rooting for Godzilla, you already know that the other guy is no match.
Right.
Come on.
Right.
Now, who's more sympathetic? Kong is way more sympathetic.
Right.
Oh, yeah, I'd rather be in Kong's arms than Godzilla's.
Kong just wants to be left alone. He even takes care of his people on Kong Island. He's a primate. He's a kind of like us. Godzilla's
he's a stand-up ape.
Well, think of it like this: Godzilla's kind of an asshole. He just gets up out of nowhere, out of the ocean, wrecks a freaking city, just to show that he like, hey, I'm here. So don't forget it. Next time I'll come and burn you guys again. And then he goes away, and then he shows up in another city. And then the only reason people root for him is because there's some other monster that's even more fucked up than he is. That he ends up saying, "Oh, hold on a second. This is my territory. You're not gonna go around destroying cities. These are my cities.
These are my people to eat.
Right.
So I'm gonna fuck you up, all the monsters, and then I'm gonna go and after I'm done, I'm gonna destroy another city just to make everybody understand. No more Mecha Godzillas. Otherwise, I'm gonna destroy all the cities this way. It's a weird character. I was always fascinated by him.
You understand where Godzilla came from, right?
from
Oh.
somebody's warped mind. I don't know.
No,
Like,
No.
if you understand anything about Asian culture, Godzilla is your parents. That is the overbearing culture that is whatever, the Japanese culture, and the people represent your childhood, right? And the monsters that come and fight Godzilla to try to win are the people that you think are going to be saviors, like police officers or people of authority that are supposed to stop the monster. But here, Godzilla wins again to terrorize the people and make their lives hard by making them do all the dishes and clean the driveway with a toothbrush and all that.
it sounds
I mean,
like my culture
Also,
too.
it was also a PSA for when we dropped the bomb on them.
Yeah, it's the atomic
Oh.
bomb, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
actually, that's what it was. I was just making that other part up.
No,
I'm
but
sorry.
you probably are right as it goes on.
Try a little bit of
Like,
both
when it
there.
started,
You
it's the
went
atomic
off.
bomb,
Yeah.
but there's
Well,
probably
I had
something
you
to
believing
it.
it though. I have you believing it though, right?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both there, Pan.
Now,
I think you could look at it that angle
a
as
real
well.
quick
but
shout out.
I don't know.
Next Tuesday, Tylox the Mighty is on the 10-1-1.
Oh, interesting. You had the mighty
Tyler's-
mullet on.
The mighty.
Now, CJ, another thing I always wanted to know is what your favorite, because I know you're an avid comic fan, but what's your favorite all-time storyline? Is it what do you keep going back to?
What I
that you
could
can
read
always
endlessly.
read.
Oh, but before I answer that, I just want to make sure I add this into my first introduction to all the Universal monsters, like the classics, Dracula, which I love, Werewolf, Frankenstein, was through Abbott and Costello.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
sure.
Okay.
That was my first introduction to it, and then I discovered the actual real movie. So, again, it's a sign of the times that I grew up.
Right.
Have you seen the Mexican version of Dracula, the original?
Possibly, I've seen like a
It's-
lot of different versions.
It was shot at night at the exact same time they shot the original Dracula, and it's the same script and same locations.
But not Bela Lugosi.
Not Bela Lugosi. It's a Spanish dude, a Mexican dude, and it's
Right.
they were really annoyed about having to work nights, the crew, so they made it look way better than the other version. So if you actually watch both of them back to back, it's the exact same story told exactly the same with the same stairs, but it just looks that much better. It's really interesting if you're into that kind of thing.
I'm gonna have to look that
I don't
up.
remember. If I have seen it, I don't remember it, but I'll definitely check it out. All right. So as far as comic book storylines that I could go back to and read over and over again, Phoenix, Dark Phoenix Saga. I always enjoyed it.
Yes.
Right? I can't have any kind of issue with that. Believe it or not, as crazy as this sounds, you're gonna say, "What the hell's wrong with you?" I really enjoyed West Coast Avengers stuff when I was growing up and reading that, because it was like I like flawed things. That's why I like the Hulk so much. I could take a lot of different Hulk. I'm not even gonna say like it's hard for me to pick out which Hulk storyline more than any other. I mean, Planet Hulk, the storyline with the original Professor Hulk. Not the bullshit 377 Incredible Hulk. The original Hulk that was Bruce Banner's brain that was in 272. People don't realize that, you know. The Secret Wars, the original ones, I could read that over and over again. A lot of stuff from the 80s, to be honest with you, are the stuff that I could go back to. Maybe
Right.
Secret Wars. Secret Wars might be the most readable book from series from 1 to 12 than everything else, as far as just pure enjoyment and not having to overthink it.
Sure.
As far as a series that stimulates me, and every time I go back, I catch more things. Watchmen is another one that I like. I'll go back, and every time I reread it, I'll catch something else that I didn't catch previously. And Dark Knight, Frank Miller's one actually does that to me as well. Every time I read it, I catch something I didn't realize the first time. So
I like Frank Miller's Daredevil was good too.
I don't like to isolate one storyline over the other, because I I'm a very free thinking person when it comes to that. Like I just like reading stuff, a lot of stuff.
Sure.
It's like saying which one of my kids are my favorites.
Always the middle child.
Answer the question.
Right.
Always the middle child.
Just for your children's sake. I mean, they want to know. Oh, we're not going to put you in that kind of hot seat. I'm just joking.
Now,
I'll stick right in the middle.
you had touched on the Incredible Hulk TV show with Bill Bixby and Lou Ferrigno. So what did that do for you as a kid? Because I mean, for me, it blew me away. Right? Like you had this bigger than life guy in Lou Ferrigno. Bill Bixby was great. It always bothered me that they changed his name, but I got over it watching the show. And then when you find out the reasons they changed his name later on, you're like, oh my gosh, you oversensitive assholes. But
yeah,
what? It was the 70s,
right? But that show definitely changed things a lot, and it brought a pathos to the superhero story, which it didn't have before.
Yeah. I mean, there was a lot of things that the show introduced. First of all, it gave people understanding that the superhero and comic book genre has a true place in live action cinema. I don't believe there was anything prior to that had that significant of an impact on TV. I mean, you had stuff like Shazam previously that was done. You had Spider-Man that was done.
Well,
I mean, there was Wonder Woman.
Like that was
Wonder Woman was around the same time, wasn't it? I believe it started around the same time. I believe so. Right around late 70s, I believe is
right.
when,
I think you're right.
Right around the same time. And I believe in the ratings war, Incredible Hulk actually was beating it out at that point, if I remember correctly. Like from what I was reading, I remember from when I was a kid. Who knows when I was a kid? But I think Hulk was the one that left that campiness, because Wonder Woman still had a little bit of campiness to it.
And what I liked about the Hulk, and besides Bill Bixby was great, but I don't think Lou Ferrigno gets enough credit, is he actually made a sympathetic Hulk.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like he really brought empathy to the character that people don't give him credit for.
I actually have a very big appreciation for Lou Ferrigno, not only for what he did for me as a child, as far as growing up and bringing one of my favorite characters to life. But as I got older, I learned more about Lou Ferrigno. I had a much higher appreciation for him after I found out that he's deaf.
Right.
Yeah.
What a good person he is, as far as what he's done for a lot of different causes. So I absolutely love Lou Ferrigno. But even when it comes down to the sound, to the music themes that they put together for Incredible Hulk, how iconic is that?
Right. You know the theme instantly when you hear it.
Right.
Yeah. Always makes me want to throw a backpack over my shoulder
and walk down the street. Yeah. With your bell bottoms on and your army jacket. Yeah, sure.
It brought a different tone to it. Wonder Woman, even though it was a live action series, there was still a little bit of campiness to it. She spun around and turned into like.
Oh, you can't make fun of the Wonder Woman spin. I love the Wonder Woman spin.
So look, it was $6 Million Man in 1973.
Yep.
That's when it started. Wonder Woman was 1975. Incredible Hulk was 1977. I just looked it up because I was curious now. And I mean, come on.
I don't know why.
Who did not want to be the $6 Million Man? I mean, don't lie.
Right.
You wanted some bionic shit after you saw that.
Especially after he fought Bigfoot.
Yeah.
My God. That is true. But the $6 Million Man did not have a comic prior to
the show.
Correct.
The show.
Yeah, but I mean, surely Batman 66 is like where it really all started.
But whether or not it had a comic book beforehand, that show always made me want to wreck my body so I could get a new one.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I just wanted to go. I
don't gotta be like this. I just have to get in an accident.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I just wanted some, who did not want to have like bionic legs and be able to jump up on top of the building? Come on. you know,
Man,
or that bionic eye to see, like, you know,
No.
you shouldn't see.
World War Battlestar Galactica, as good as it was,
That's
it
my
had
guy.
nothing on Buck Rogers because of Aaron Gray's space costume.
Oh,
Those were
geez.
the tightest pants in
Oh.
space.
I was not into Battlestar Galactica. I was a very big Star Wars fan.
Yeah.
Very big Star. Like I love Star. I was not a Trekkie. However, I religiously watched the original Star Trek series because it was always on Channel 9 every like at 11 o'clock or wherever it was. I watched it religiously because I wanted to see which green chick or purple chick or turquoise chick that Captain Kirk was going to bang. He was my freaking role model.
Yeah.
You know, the thing with that cast, CJ, is they had charisma. Like that cast was so full of charisma. Like you couldn't watch that show and not have fun watching the cast.
Oh, yeah.
I have no appreciation for the storylines and the mythos behind Star Trek. However, I could watch that first season or the first couple of seasons that was with that original cast anytime, all day, every day. Like the stuff that came later on, the New Generation and all that stuff. I don't care. It had the guy that came from Reading Rainbow on it. I was like, get the hell out of here. You know, I want to watch Captain Kirk. I want to watch Spock. I want to catch.
And then it had a cartoon as well.
Yeah, that's right. They did. I wasn't into the cartoon. I wanted that series. I wanted to see the sexy green chicks. I wanted to see that stuff. I wanted to see Captain Kirk with his one-liners and McCoy freaking screaming at Spock. That's what I wanted to watch.
So yeah, Captain Kirk was definitely the Joey Tribbiani of space. Every time he saw an alien chick, how you doing?
Right.
Exactly.
He was.
And he was the originator of the chop.
Scotty would always be like, I can't get this thing to go any faster, Captain. And then he turned it up just a little bit.
I can't get any women. Captain Kirk's taking them all.
Yeah.
Fucking bastard.
Get the piece of ass.
Yeah.
And he was also the originator of that paralyzing chop. With one chop, he could take down anybody. You know?
Right? The
Vulcan mind you, man.
No, Spock did the Vulcan thing. But Captain Kirk did the chop. He would just chop you right on the shoulder blade, and you're done.
You're done.
I mean, he looked like he could take Bruce Lee when he did it, though. So I'm just saying, Captain Kirk was a badass.
Yeah, he
with his belly and everything. He was freaking awesome. I think he was awesome.
One thing you can say is that Bruce Lee never fucked a green chick. So
yeah,
I mean, Kirk's got him on that. So
maybe he did. He just didn't go public with it.
He literally took that to the grave with him. Huh?
Yeah, I think that did.
Well, and I liked bringing it back to the Hulk. I loved in She-Hulk in that last episode when they did the homage to the original opening. I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah, that was cool.
That might have been the only thing that I liked about that show.
Pretty much.
You know, because I did not like the Did you appreciate that She-Hulk series, Gary?
I liked the Jennifer Walters of it, and I liked her assistant. I did not like what they did with Abomination. They made him a joke.
What was it that you liked?
Abomination's supposed to be a threat. At no time did Abomination feel like a threat.
Oh, yeah.
And a psychopath as well.
Right.
Yeah,
and like he was in the movie.
seemed
Like you thought he was going to snap and just kill everybody just as a human, let alone when he became the Abomination.
No, they
I think they
Vikram
the
Yoga.
person who wrote it was mixed up. I wanted to see a Savage She-Hulk series, and I think they had it mixed up, where they were trying to put a little bit of both in, and they were missing some notes here and there. I didn't think there was anything wrong with Maslany. I thought she was great as Jennifer Walters in the She-Hulk.
I'll be really honest with you as far as that show. I know there's a lot of criticism and stuff like that. I thought it was abysmal. The reason why is take all the concepts and the agendas that Disney had by putting into there, because there was agendas that were putting in there.
Oh, and they took the Hulk's balls away from him.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's another thing. They castrated the Hulk.
Yep.
Which you don't have to castrate a male character in the process of empowering a woman. No, that's the thing that I don't understand what they're doing with a lot of TV shows these days. They're empowering women by castrating men. You could empower women without having to castrate the men as well, and that's
they did.
You know?
They had She-Hulk twerk. I mean, wasn't that the whole point of empowering women?
Yeah, exactly.
Look,
I'm sure that
I won't apologize. I like the She-Hulk, but I wanted Savage She-Hulk. I thought Titania was horrible, and I thought Abomination was horrible.
There was
But
a
there's
lot
parts of the show I really liked.
Yeah.
And I did not like that Bruce Banner was half the size of Abomination. When you would watch that original movie, and those two were just tearing up that whole city street like nothing.
same size.
Right.
Yeah, same size.
Yeah,
Exactly.
because he's the Hulk. You know, that's the whole point of being the Hulk. You know, but the other thing that I didn't that was made it
Joe.
very, very difficult to watch was the fact that the CGI was abysmal. It was horrible. They did a really, really bad job as far as being able to. You said the twerking scene. Did you see what she looked like when she was twerking? It looked like a freaking Looney Tunes character that they were putting on a CG. Like it was. I wish they took another 6 to 12 months and delayed making that show and done it right,
It made
rather
it better.
than pushed it out
But-
with the choppy
So-
CGI.
So with that said, real quick, with that said, I saw something the other day. It was a little article written that I thought was interesting and posed this question: does the MCU need to step back and stop for a while?
They don't. They just need not to be afraid to make their content more adult oriented,
No.
like the characters are.
Well, here's the thing. They're going for that knockout blow. They're going for that blockbuster every time. Here's the problem: you can't do that economically. It's impossible to be able to sustain the amount of production costs to be able to make these high-end, high special effects type of shows and movies. So, in my personal opinion, if I was running the MCU, if I was doing the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I would actually be doing less of the blockbusters, put them out more sporadic, and have a lot more street level and a lot more dramatic type of characters filling in the gaps. It's not that difficult to put together a Punisher series that could actually look really good and keep the special effects down to a minimum
Sure.
and still have a great story. You could do the same thing with a lot of other characters.
Daredevil.
Daredevil's another one. Okay, Daredevil's might get a little iffy because of the suit and stuff like that. But yeah, Daredevil could work. She could work. You could turn it into a series where he's literally running around freaking Hong Kong kicking the shit out of people.
Well, it could have been like Kung Fu. It could have been like Kung Fu with the Master.
Well, what we once talked about was the fact that what we loved about all the shows that we had from the 70s and 80s is because they were new and they had never been done before. Nobody had done a Hulk show.
Right, now we have an embarrassment of riches.
And now we're just inundated and flooded with nonstop.
Okay. Well, the thing that I'm thinking of now is what CJ had just put, talking about, what was the point of that person twerking, of having She-Hulk twerk.
Right.
And Anachronic Comics said the problem is that Disney Plus, they think they can, that it has appealed to kids. Well, if you think about it, what was the thing for us back in the day when we were growing up? Jessica Rabbit, Roger Rabbit, right? I mean, that was supposed to be appealing to the kids, but I remember being a kid going, things are happening. I really like her. She's doing things that I want to be the rabbit. Like,
yeah,
I want to be Roger. Yeah. So I don't know if that's the kind of appeal, but I think it worked better back then because we weren't, like you said, Jim, we weren't just flooded with all this shit all the time.
Right.
And so the wow factor isn't there anymore.
No.
So when you do something like that, it just seems a little bit too ridiculous to try to just reach that level without making everybody else just feel cringe.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Even in this world where we've seen it all, basically we have seen it all. The only thing that people could do better these days than what was done previously is bring up the special effects more and more and more. That's the way you could actually improve. However, whenever a really good story comes out of nowhere, a good movie comes out of nowhere, something a little creative comes out of nowhere, We appreciate it more. Why did everybody go bonkers over this stupid video game show that they made? What the hell was it called?
Last of Us?
The Last of
Last
Us.
of Us.
Yeah.
Okay,
Mario.
why? Because it was that.
Mario.
You know why? Was that the first time they made a apocalyptic virus type of movie
No,
or
but that's
show?
written so well, just like the games are.
And there you go. The
Right.
story's there. It engaged people. It gave us something that's very watchable. You know,
Nice.
and that's the difference. When they first did the Daredevil series on Netflix, the first 2 seasons, everybody appreciated it because it was gritty, it was dark, it was different. It was Daredevil. It was
Right.
actually Daredevil. It was written well. It was
Yeah.
actually really well. The Punisher series that was done on Netflix, same thing. It was written well. It was reflective of what we wanted to see. No, the Moon Knight could have been that. It could have been that. But they got
Yeah.
cute with it. That was the problem. I watched the first episode. I got excited. After the first episode, I was lost with that series because I don't think the writers even knew what they were writing at that
Right.
point.
No,
Yeah, I
it
mean,
got
the
off
story
rails.
wasn't there for Moon Knight, was it? I mean,
No.
it basically didn't have a story.
It was hard to attach yourself to the story when it was so convoluted in the first place, just going back and forth. And you're just like, I don't care for this. I'm
Right.
not ready to do the mystery in my head. If it's that apparent, I'm not doing this dance and song. You know, forget it. I'll wait till the end when everybody does a recap and I can get the highlights. It's like watching a sport you don't like. Like for me, I love baseball, but I can't sit there at home if I'm not at the game itself watching for the whole game unless I know something's going to happen. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
for me, I like watching ESPN for those highlight moments. So this way I can go about my day, you know,
Right.
refilling my man
Baseball-
cons. I don't know.
Baseball's the thing is there's a reason why they call baseball the nation's pastime. It's more of a pastime than a true sporting event that you go to, like a soccer event where there's constant back and forth, or baseball, or basketball, or soccer. I'm not taking away anything from the athletes that are in baseball. However, it is more of a pastime. You go there, you go have a hot dog, you hang out with your friends or your family. You hang out watching the game, and if your team wins at the end, you're happy. If they suck, you go in and say, "Oh, my team sucks." That's basically what baseball is. And it's a long grind. And then all of a sudden you get to the playoffs. Now you're motivated. You're excited. Everything matters at that point. That's what baseball is.
Yeah.
It's like manga. You ever see anime where you have a lot of filler? There's these long freaking seasons where they have constant episodes where they mean nothing to get to the really epic ending. That's what baseball is.
Now let's get into something you've been doing on your channel lately, CJ, which is public domain videos. And so you've had successes and trials and tribulations with them. You want to speak about public domain for a minute and what's getting you on it?
Sure. I will actually. I'll give, if Joe's in here from Anachronic, I'll give him credit because he actually got my attention going after a video he made.
His Superman video.
Yeah, because I didn't realize that series was freaking public domain. It blew my freaking mind. I'm like, how the hell is that public domain?
I didn't either until Joe made his video.
Freaking blew my mind. I'm like, how could DC ever lose? And then I got into more. Like, I never really looked into what exactly makes something go into public domain or not. And then I realized that everybody eventually goes to public domain,
right?
Which, for me, is a really screwed up process. Like, I think it's another way of the government regulating what people do with their property, their intellectual property. It's another side that nothing ever belongs to us.
Right. If you create something, you should be able to leave it to every generation of your family and not have it taken over.
It should be our prerogative, And if we want to donate it to the public, then so be it. We'll donate it to the public. But it's another way of government control. And now everybody's gonna say, "Well, it's good for other creators." No, it's not. It's not, because those other creators that want to create something, they know that eventually they'll get it taken from them. It's a really screwed up process, which I'm not appreciative of. But after I discovered that you had those public domain videos, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna start putting stuff from the public domain that I'm into, that's somewhat pop culture related, and I'm gonna just start making playlists and putting them on my channels and that kind of thing. And people could either watch it or know that they exist or whatever. What I did realize, another thing that I realized though, is that YouTube likes to block even public domain channels. Now I don't know if this is I don't know if this is just me unique, because they just they're just so used to blocking everything I put on there. I'm not sure if that's the case. It's possible. However, I have 5 freaking videos that should have been already loaded onto YouTube from the Superman series that they've not only said demonetized. I don't give a shit if it's monetized or demonetized. It doesn't matter to me. But they blocked it. I'm not allowed to put it on there. And they're giving me issues about the music and about this. I have disputes on there. Let's see what happens. See what the situation. But it's a very weird situation, and I just wanted it as additional content on my channel, in addition to stuff like I get a lot of stuff canceled and blocked on my channel. So maybe about 30% of what you see that exists on my channel is what of what actually was made at one point.
There you go, CJ. Joe is saying, sorry to interrupt you. He says, I have to teach you how to put them on, CJ.
Well, you know what? Joe knows exactly what he's doing with that stuff. And
that's because Joe's smarter than all of us.
Right.
Well, you know what? Maybe he is. I'm not gonna agree or disagree, because clearly he knows exactly what he's doing when it comes to that. But he doesn't do what I do. Like, I'll put up the videos, put a bumper in the front, bumper in the end. Here, enjoy. Leave me alone. Watch it. Joe will actually sit there and get into detail and tell you all about it and tell you all the background and all the little nuggets and stuff like that. He's a guy that honestly, I really, really enjoy the thought process and the amount of work he does on his videos. Really, really do. You want to talk about good looking me's? He started off right off the get-go with good looking me's. So,
well, that, and he adds value too with the history that he adds to each video with the books.
Exactly. You want to see it. It's very cool stuff. But
Joe's got a good channel. I tried to hate it and I just couldn't. Just kidding.
Listen, I try to hate everybody, and some of them I eventually like, so it works out.
No, I love Joe. Joe's a great guy.
He's also a fellow New Yorker, so I got a biased. So you have that playing into the mix. I mean,
he can let Bruno out of the basement once in a while to breathe, but
you do have that element that I do have my New York bias. So, but as far as the public domain, I'm trying to get out all those Superman things. Hopefully, they'll unblock them sooner or later. And after that, I'm going to start picking out a little weird oddity, superhero related, sci-fi related, pop culture related stuff to put on there. And I like to eventually actually play them late at night. I like to start off with the Night of the Living Dead, 1968 or 67 one, and just do
the George Romero.
Yeah, exactly. And believe it or not, that was public domain. Speak about people getting fucked. George Romero is one of the top ones.
Oh yeah.
Could you imagine? He's still alive. How is that public domain?
Because he didn't file properly back then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he died a few years back.
Well, did he? I did not know he died a few years back. DVH.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he did.
And yeah, he didn't. The copyright isn't on the film, so all the way from the beginning, he never owned. That's why they did.
The 1989
it was like a 25th anniversary edition DVD where they put new scenes in, because then they could say they actually owned it. Because the new scenes. I mean, it's terrible. Don't watch that version; it's awful. But
they also made a remake in 1989 as well, that he was not directing, which they kind of fucked him on. But
that was Tom Savini directed that.
But believe it or not, it was one of the few remakes that I really enjoyed as much, if not more, than the original.
Oh yeah, it's really good.
Really, really good. One of the best remakes I've ever seen of any horror film. Really awesome stuff. So stuff like that. I want to do like fun stuff, like And I'm thinking that if I play that, they won't freaking block me. Well, we'll see.
I was about to say, CJ, have you seen The Thing, the remake of The Thing? That's really good too.
You need to be
We were
asking
just talking about remakes of
Gary-
horror movies.
Gary B. You have to ask Gary B. about that. That's his jam.
Yeah, that's a prequel. That's not a remake.
Are you trying to poke the
whatever.
bear right now with the Thing remake?
Yeah, the end of that movie, Panda, leads into the old movie.
Yeah, well, it's the same thing. It came out afterwards.
Dude, you could have
It's
that
a
fight
sequel.
with Gary B. I'm not
Sequel,
picking a
prequel.
fight with him on Carpenter stuff. It's not the same. Nothing's better than the original, right, Gary? No,
Oh yeah, I watched that one enough to know.
Once a week.
My favorite Carpenter
More
film
than that, Jim.
is They Live, but hey,
Oh yeah,
I love They Live.
me too. I love.
I mean,
They
the
Live.
great thing about John Carpenter films is you can say pretty much every one of his films and be like, "That's my favorite one," and it'd be a perfectly valid choice. Like they're that good.
Right.
I mean, They Live is amazing. I love it, but it's not my favorite of his lot. But yeah, but I love it. It's amazing.
I just
Yeah,
love
the
watching
thing is,
Roddy
my
Ryder Piper going in,
favorite
eating
movie.
people
They
up.
Live, I love. Especially, yeah, come on, you got David Keith in that too, who's
Oh,
in
he's
the
wicked.
Thing as well.
I chew bubble gum. Come
Came
on.
here to chew bubblegum and kick ass,
Ass
and
to
I'm all out of
ass.
bubblegum.
It was just one of these like stupid films that you can't stop watching. I
And
love
he
it.
made that line up at that was improv.
Really?
Well, that's
Yeah.
what you know when you use a wrestler as an actor.
Well,
That's
actor.
all we do every day. Improv.
Yeah.
In that fight scene, CJ, they rehearsed for 2 weeks. I think it was either in John Carpenter's backyard or Roddy Piper's backyard, one of their yards. Him and David Keith rehearsed it for 2 weeks so it would look that real.
And it
They
worked
did a
out.
good job, man. It was amazing.
It definitely worked out.
And my last nerd fact about They Live. So you know how everyone likes to play a villain, right? In wrestling especially, right? DVH will know this. Roddy Piper was always the villain. But, and then you find out like how good some of these guys are in real life. So all those extras in They Live were the homeless people of the area. So Roddy Piper and John Carpenter teamed up and gave all the extra positions to homeless people so they would be clothed and fed.
Oh, I
Get
got
the
you.
fuck out of
That's
here.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So-
really cool.
That was really nice of them. Could also be that there was cheap labor. I don't know. I'm just
mean,
being
there's
honest.
that
I'm just saying.
I mean, that's how we got my cousins to sew soccer balls. So that's how.
Come on,
Yeah.
come on, come on, chat. That didn't
no.
run through anybody's mind.
Yeah.
Oh, let's clothe and feed the homeless people. How much is
No.
that going to cost us? $20 a day.
No,
How
I don't
much
think.
does it
I
cost
think I think they paid them scale.
How much is it going to cost us to get? Well, I'm sure they're not.
Well, I
using
mean, you get like $25 back then. You probably got like $25 in a lunch. That's what you got
Well,
as an extra.
I was about to say, but that was like in the 70s, so that would have been like what,
80s.
$2?
No, it was.
and
It was.
Coke?
It was in the 80s, and I know because I played an. I
He was
did
one of the homeless.
I
You were
did
an extra?
I was an extra.
You were an
They-
extra?
They shot in a scene in not of that movie, but of
Oh.
another show, and there was a show. Oh crap! What's the guy's name? They were going to show a TV show called based on Alcoholics Anonymous called My Name Is Bill W, and it was going to have James Woods in it, or James Woods played in it, and he played Bill W. And my then. I was dating my wife then, and she wanted to be an extra in it. So she went to the place, and the only photograph she had that was good of her was I was right next to her. So she cut the photograph in half, and the lady was like, "Why don't you apply?" And I was like, "Okay." And I
So
just
the
put my
only
name down,
photograph
gave
you
the
had that was
photograph,
good was the one you weren't in.
and yeah, and so then they call me and say, "Hey, do you want to be extra? It pays $25 a day, and you get lunch." And they said, and I said, well, what day? And they said Saturday. And they said, have you cut your hair? And I said, no. And they said, well, you got to cut your hair. It's got to fit the period. I said, nah, I'll pass, and hung up the phone. And she was so pissed because they never called her.
Well, I would have cut my hair for a freaking, cheese sandwich or whatever the hell they're giving you.
And speaking of that, CJ and you guys, would you agree? Another one of the beauties of that time, Meg Foster.
Oh yeah, her eyes were freaky though.
No, her eyes
freaked
were
me
great.
out. It freaked me out. I don't know. What it
I
was.
thought her ass was fine, man.
Fascinating eyes. Like, you could
and-
look
and
at them
for all
forever.
Eyes,
Yes, CBH.
eyes, yes.
And for all the people that think I'm cynical and pessimistic and all stuff like that, I'm sure they did it to help the homeless people and to be nice to them and feeding them. I'm sure that's
CJ, you monster.
it's just me being
DJ,
an
why are
asshole.
you explaining yourself? You're
It's just me being an asshole and thinking speaking out loud what everybody else was thinking at that point.
Yeah, but I mean, you're not wrong. But they needed people to do it, so they did the nice thing and got those people rather than the other people. We're like,
Right.
Now, CJ, let's delve into monsters for a second. And you can't go Godzilla. You can't go King Kong. They're too easy.
Okay.
Favorite monster movie that's not Godzilla or King Kong related?
Ooh. Look at Gary just sit back like, gotcha, bitch.
No, actually, you want to hear my favorite? You're gonna say what the hell's wrong with you? The Blob,
No, The
The
Blob's
remake.
a good movie.
the Blob
Ooh,
remake.
That's
The one with
Blob
Dylan.
remake.
remake.
Another remake that I appreciated more than the original.
The Fly as well.
Fly was great.
I
Yeah,
love the
right.
fly.
Killer
Fly
Clowns
was
from
probably
Outer
the best
Space.
remake ever.
Fly was great. You know what the thing I liked about the
thing
Blob?
is,
The Blob was so like you know what the fuck are you gonna do with this thing? It's not
Right.
like a human. It's not like a thing that you could punch or kick or blow up. It's like this massive goo that just like absorbs and eats everything. It was horrifying if you think about it. That and Killer Clowns from Outer Space came out around the same time, and I've watched those two movies more times than any other campy horror movies that you could possibly think of. But
We had good ones in the audience here. I do like American Werewolf, but my favorite werewolf movie is The Howling, the first one. It's incredible. But I'll always have a soft spot for an American Werewolf in London, especially because it has Jenny Agutter in it.
good werewolf movie is also Dog Soldiers. If you ever see that,
Yep, a Neil Marshall
Yeah.
movie.
That's a good one.
Dude, that
Yeah.
American Werewolf in London, that transition scene, just the whole thing, like I loved everything they did with all that stuff.
It's
man.
fantastic.
Panda, you gotta watch.
Practical effects, man.
You gotta watch. Fucking The Howling, dude. The same guy. So for The Howling, there's an incredible change scene. You just see the face, the snout, everything grow. It's all
Well, maybe
practical
that's what
effects.
I'm thinking.
It's all done by Rob Bottin, the same guy who did the effects for John Carpenter's The Thing. It's that
Right.
movie that got him the
Okay.
job for John Carpenter.
By
I'm
Will
also-
Ward.
Nice.
I'm also
Maybe I
very,
am thinking of The Howling.
Well, they both have
No, they
amazing
both have great
transformation
transition
scenes.
scenes.
Like, they're-
Both their
they're
scenes are
fantastic.
incredible.
Yeah.
I also
Yeah.
think of it in a very different way as far as what a true monster movie is or what a monster is. You might say like something like Bram Stoker's Dracula is about a monster. I don't look at it as a monster movie. I look at it as a drama. I look at it as a almost like an epic tale, almost like a Lord of the Rings kind of a storyline.
Sorry, Norin, I hated The Mist.
Smallville, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, you get a fan and it's gonna go away. The mist, that's the problem. You get a high power.
The Mist had the dumbest ending. Like, I was so mad at that ending.
Oh yeah, that really annoyed a lot of people,
father
didn't
is
it?
going to put the gun
Yeah.
to his kid's head and pull the trigger. I don't want
The mist was not great,
So
but
stupid.
the fog was actually better. If
I
you ever
love
see
the fog. Again, John Carpenter, because what John Carpenter does effectively is create atmosphere. There's no blood in that movie, but it keeps you on edge the whole time.
like you might take a movie like Natural Born Killers. I consider the main character a freaking monster. Going around
Yeah.
killing
Right?
people. Mickey and Mallory, those
Woody
are
Harrelson.
freaking monsters, like real life monsters.
Yeah.
They just walk around and just kill everybody. Like, it's like killing.
Plus, in the fog, you had Jamie Lee Curtis, Adrienne Barbeau.
Adrienne Barbeau.
Oh, God.
Who
That was the
Carpenter,
one person that I was just like, I
was
wouldn't
married to
mind
it.
yelling that. I wouldn't mind yelling my name out loud. Like that's the time. Dude,
What
hey,
else are we
Swamp
doing?
Thing. Oh my God, that was
Oh,
one
yeah.
of the first. Oh my God,
I forgot about
I
Swamp
saw-
Thing. Yeah, that's right. Swamp Thing.
I
Adrian
just
Bardot.
recently resaw
Oh.
that. I forgot which one I saw.
Like, but you enjoy it so much every time you watch it.
Which one
Like,
was the
you're
one?
like, I know this is shit. Man, this is some shit I love.
Which something was the one with not Heather Locklear, the other one with the
The first one was Adrienne Barbeau. The sequel
Yeah.
was Heather Locklear.
Right.
She was hot, freaking
Dude,
Adrienne Barbeau.
Lochner was still
She was
Yeah.
hot
better
in
costume in
an
two.
angry
Better
way.
costume in two.
She was angry hot. She looked like very like angry but hot at the same time all the time. I don't know why. I don't
Well, she
know.
was like powerful hot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you didn't want to fuck with Adrienne Barbeau, but you wanted to, Adrienne Barbeau.
All right, you didn't stump me on the freaking monster question. Come on, give me another question. Let's see what else you gonna put me in the hot seat with.
Oh, right. Okay. So CJ, I got one. So right there, right in front of you, you have we have a symbol. You have your Hawaiian punch. For those that don't know who you are, CJ, how did this all come about?
Oh, it's very interesting. It goes back to the lines of my hashtags and other things. Who's this guy? It's Kool-Aid Man, right?
Kool-Aid.
Oh,
Right.
Yeah.
What
Oh, yeah.
notorious thing
Oh,
is
yeah.
associated with, other than him going through people's houses and destroying their property on a day-to-day process, which I like the fact that he does that. That is probably one of the most fucked up commercials ever. Like, somebody
Right.
just destroys your living room wall and says, "Oh yeah," and everybody's smiling. Like, I'd be like, "What the? You just wrecked my freaking house, you asshole!"
Right? I only paid 12
Yeah.
cents for my Kool-Aid packet, but now I got $12,000 in home repair.
Yeah, thank you. Well, you got some sweet drink to drink. Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
Anyway, the what's the most notorious thing that's associated with Kool-Aid?
Drink the Kool-Aid.
I know the
Yeah, drinking the Kool-Aid. And what are a lot of people in our community doing? Drinking the Kool-Aid in that FOMO machine. From that FOMO machine. So
Yeah.
basically, I like using like little props and stuff like that to give messages to people. So, you want to be in that FOMO machine and drink it out of that fountain, drink it up, that kind of thing. And as far
I do
as
the same thing. Yeah.
and as far as Punchy is concerned, he's the one that enforces everything. He's the muscle behind everything. So you got this guy getting
So
everybody.
he's the enforcer.
Yeah, so you got this guy. He's convinced you all with his cute smile to drink it all up, and then this guy is gonna give you a Hawaiian punch if you don't listen. So, it goes a little back and forth.
You got
I-
Big E saying circle jerky.
There you go. I got another character from the same eras that's gonna be joining them soon, but I'm not gonna reveal that character.
What?
When you see that character, you're gonna say, "All right, it makes a lot of sense."
Well, it better have a 2 foot longer left arm. That's all I'm saying.
I'm kind of curious what the character is now.
Yeah, man.
I gotta tease you guys somehow. I can't put it all out there. I can't
Right.
put it all out there. Besides that, what if it does? I ordered it from eBay, so I don't know if it's gonna come in or not. So I want to make sure I get it before I actually unveil it.
Joe's
Right.
saying reveal.
You gotta reveal it.
There it is.
Actually, it's
One
been, like,
punches the other bashes.
it's been like 4 days since I ordered on eBay, and they still haven't shipped it out. This son of a bitch. But we'll see. We'll see. Let's see how well it's packaged too.
Ooh.
We'll see.
So is it another like pop culture thing? Obviously, that kind of.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna be thinking about this now, trying to solve it.
Well, yeah, yeah. You know what? If you watch the Insomniac Theater in one of the 20-hour marathons that we've had, I've
Well, I'm
said it
sleeping
here
for
and
work.
there. I've
Right.
said it here and there in the show. So
Oh.
I have mentioned that I am trying to obtain that. So
Now, CJ, you were bringing up cartoons. You brought up Spider-Man, X-Men. You didn't bring up the old Hulk cartoon, which was really good.
you talk about the 1966 one. I hope not.
No. The '90s Hulk cartoon was really good,
I
and it
actually
had
didn't
guest
think so.
appearances by like Ghost Rider. It had She-Hulk in it. It was a really good cartoon.
I like the stories to it. I didn't like the animation to it, though. To be quite honest with you, I didn't enjoy the animation to that Hulk series. I didn't enjoy the animation to the Iron Man series that came out at the same time, or the Fantastic Four series that came around the same
Ooh.
time. That era of animation didn't really do it for me. I actually prefer the animation, believe it or not, that came out in the 80s around the same time with Spider-Man and his Amazing Friends. I don't know if you
Well,
remember.
Spider-Man is Amazing Friends. That's
They used to
that's where I
actually
found
have
Firestar.
the it didn't last right now the test of time as far as if you go back and watch the animation, it's very choppy, but for that time period that it came out, it was very good,
Yeah, it
very
was good.
very good.
Well, I
The
commented on your one short about the flow of flight and the fluidity of action in that one scene, which was done really well.
Mhm.
Um,
the 90s Hulk, I believe it was done very cheaply. So was Iron Man.
I
So
like the
was
Iron Man one too, because it had Julia Carpenter in it. I was like, yeah, Spider Woman's in a cartoon finally.
yeah, they brought the Force work. I mean, the storylines were great. As far as the concept, were great. But during that time, this is what we're comparing it to. You're watching Spider-Man that was done by Fox and X-Men that was done by Fox at the same time as those animations. And you know what? When you're watching competing animations at the same time period, and the Batman Adventures, another one, which
Right.
were completely superior. It felt like they just like, let's put some shitty cartoons together so we could sell some toys, and that's basically what they did. It was a toy biz.
And I love that
Gimmick.
Fantastic Four cartoon back then too. Not the one with Herbie, the regular one was so good.
But the ones that I love the most about all that stuff is just how the crossovers happen when you've been watching these two different separate shows and they have several episodes that cross over and you're
Mhm.
like, yes, Spider-Man's in or X-Men's in Spider-Man or Spider-Man's in the X-Men or you got Fantastic Four showing up in the Hulk and
Yep.
all that other stuff. So it was
And
just
don't-
really cool because yeah.
And don't
Yeah,
get me wrong,
very
bro,
interesting.
that I like the storylines that were in those animations. I just didn't enjoy the animation. I'll give you another example. During that time period, a couple of years after, they actually made a Fantastic Four animation that a lot of people don't remember on MTV. That actually was
The anime style one.
amazing compared to
Iona.
everything else. But nobody really talks about those because they're short lived.
They did a Spider-Man one too, which wasn't too bad.
Yeah,
The
I mean,
Spider-Man was the one that I remember.
they did some really nice work that is forgotten
When was
about in
that?
history. The reason why the Incredible Hulk, the Iron Man, and the Fantastic Four got that big push at that time with UPN, I believe, was because Toy Biz was gearing up for their toy line,
I think
and they needed to push product out there to get them to
90s
sell toys.
DVH.
Yeah, it was all in that part
Yeah,
was in the 90s.
yeah, but like the Fantastic Four stuff you were talking about was like early-ish 90s, wasn't it? Like
Yeah.
91 was the X-Men.
Yeah.
92 was X-Men. And they were all around then. But when was the anime versions? Like later 90s.
I want to say 94, 95, the anime
Right.
version. came out in,
That's
MTV.
interesting. I don't think I've seen them. I'm gonna have to.
It is excellent. Go look it up and Fantastic Four anime. I mean, you want to
And
talk
it's
about
funny
the Hulk?
too.
You want to talk about the Hulk?
Yeah.
There was an episode of that Fantastic Four series that had the Hulk in it. He was wrecking everybody in it. It was phenomenal.
World War Hulk style, just it was awesome.
It was just a wrecking machine in that. I don't know, like stuff like I'm like I say, a very visual person. So if the story's great, you got me on the story. But if the visual is not working for me. I can't. I have low retention after that. I'd rather watch Voltron than those animated series from the 90s that you mentioned.
Yes.
Voltron was great,
Yes.
visually stunning, and it holds up. Not the shitty version with the cards that turn into the
Lions.
the real
The
one,
lions.
the one with the lions.
Yep.
That's right. I've got him right there. And there.
Pandar the Barbarian.
Yeah. I was about to say, Jim, you've got an exquisite Voltron.
Yeah. I got the Voltron. I'm
And
down
I
for
love
that.
the Dungeons and Dragons cartoon then too.
I was not watching it very often, so I can't really comment on it. I vaguely remember it.
Dungeons and Dragons was great cartoon. It was wicked. Loved it.
It was
I was not a Dungeons and Dragons fan to start with, so
more of
Right.
a Monchi-Cheese guy.
yeah, I was more of a Munchie
People are gonna look that up. They don't remember it.
Snorkels. I was more of that kind of a
I
guy.
like the Snorkels way better than the Smurfs.
Yeah.
They were underwater.
I
They
was
were
more
cool.
of a Porky's guy. I don't know about you guys, but I was more of a Porky's person.
Porkies.
Honestly, snorkels creep me out. They freak me out. They
What's
look
that?
so freaking. The snorkels freak me out. They look so weird.
I like the
Snorkels and
Snorkels.
sea monkeys. Sea monkeys. Every time I would see that ad in the comic for sea monkeys, it would freak me out. I don't know what it was that disturbed me so much by it, but those images of the mermen and merwomen that were on it, like, just so disturbing to me. I don't know
Yeah.
why.
I got to ask you about this 80s
Yes.
iconic TV show, which is a guilty pleasure favorite of mine. We got to talk about Alf.
All right. What's the guilty pleasure? Everybody in the mothers watched Alf.
I didn't know if you liked it or not. Alf, I love.
At the time when it came out, I didn't like it. I did try to go back a couple years ago to watch it again, and it was not watchable, in my personal opinion. It was just like really, really bad.
The first few seasons are still watchable. I didn't find the last two very watchable.
Yeah, I like the fact that he wanted to eat the cat. Like that.
Yeah.
I was always amused by that. He was like a perverted alien that looked like a Muppet. It was a funny concept. I just think because of the stuff that we've seen made since then,
Yeah.
visually, it doesn't hold up well. It's like it's like you ever go back and watch like a Muppet Show. I remember
Right.
Muppet Show. I love the Muppet Show. I grew up on the Muppet Show. It was one of my favorite shows growing up. But if you go back and watch it today, it doesn't hold up well as far as the way it was filmed and all the Muppets.
Well, I think a lot of it's to do with the fact that both of them have quite a lot of pop culture references for the time.
Right.
Right.
So you have to be up on all that pop culture as well as the Muppets or
Right.
Alf.
And that's the rub with used in pop culture, because at the time it's brilliant. But then when you watch it in retrospect, the jokes just don't land because you don't get it if you weren't at that time.
And don't get me
Yeah,
wrong,
my kids
I
didn't
don't think-
understand the Nixon jokes.
Right.
I'm a big nostalgia guy. Here's a pop culture show that was actually really, really funny for the time. That if you remember those times, you'll enjoy. But you can't really watch in big parts. What's it? Follies. DC Follies. Remember that? It was.
Oh, yeah.
It was a show that was basically a satirical political show made out of puppets. It was really funny, really, really fun. If you go back to it, and
Never
see
heard of it.
DC Follies, very, very funny show. Very like same creators, the Jim Henson people did it, made it.
Yeah.
It aired around the same time that Fraggle Rock was made.
Yeah. Fred Willard did it. Did a lot of it. Gary Fred Willard did a lot. It's a lot of political too. I mean, it was all
Fred Willard's
political
hilarious.
based. Yeah.
So there's a lot of funny stuff like that. But there's very few shows that I could go back to and really the doozers, that I could go back and watch endlessly without having a hiccup. I could watch Three's Company with no problem, and they got a million pop culture freaking references in that. Why?
Right.
Because funny is funny to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, but also that's sort of story driven more, I would say, than say the Muppets, like for instance.
Right.
The
John
Muppets,
Ritter was hilarious.
the Muppets have a lot more to do with the visual. So like you could see the evolution of Sesame Street over years as well. Same school of puppets. You go back to like the original 1970s ones. They look so choppy compared to the ones that they're making like in recent years. I think they still make Sesame Street, but the quality difference is really, really different. So you watch the Count when he was first introduced to where he's in modern times. It looks a lot better and a lot more fluid and that kind of stuff. That's what I'm talking about visually, like keeping me connected with it. We've been spoiled. We've watched too much stuff. They've gotten too good. So that means I've become more critical of the stuff that has been made in the past, which is why I have a high appreciation for those Superman cartoons that were made in 1942 that actually are much better than a lot of the crappy animation that's made today. So,
yeah, I agree. The Superman cartoons that didn't have any of the dialogue with it, those were really good. Telling a whole story without actually having to say a word.
Mm-hmm.
Go watch some of those old Popeyes, those Fleischer Popeyes. Oh my God, they are amazing how well they were done. 3D models were used in the backgrounds of the animations. Phenomenal, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful stuff. So what else are you gonna put my ass on fire with today, Gary? Tell me what.
We'll go for about 20 more minutes and we'll cut it at the 2-hour mark. So, well, let's talk about that because with the stop motion animation, right? Because I was a big fan back in the day too of the Sinbad movies, Jason and the Argonauts,
Clash of the Titans,
right?
Oh, Clash
All
of
that
Titans.
Ray Harryhausen stuff, plus the Willie O'Brien original King Kong,
Land of the Lost.
Land of the Lost.
Oh,
Oh my God. Yeah.
Oh, that hit the feels.
What do you think is some of the, like, CJ, those properties, even when I watch them today, they hold a magic for me, which they had a sense of adventure, even though you know it's fake looking at it. There was a sense of adventure you can't replace in some of the properties that are out there today. And I don't know if you agree or not, but I can still watch those and feel like a little kid watching it and have an adult enjoyment while I'm viewing them.
I can. They have a certain charm that you can't duplicate. And I wish there was a lot more made of that stuff. I love the stop motion. I love the claymation type of stuff. Tim Burton took a few stabs at it in the more recent years with the Nightmare Before Christmas stuff and
love it.
Princess Corpse Bride. Stuff like that.
James and the Giant Peach.
Yep.
They took a few stabs at that, but they're so expensive to make
and so much time
that they're not doing them. However, I think they I would like to see them at the very least come out in shorts.
Well, some of the best stuff of that lately too was like Wallace and Gromit was great.
Mm-hmm.
Flushed Away was a great movie that nobody watched.
Fantastic. What was it? Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the Fantastic Mr. Fox. That was good.
I remember coming across the stop motion animation, which was incredible. When I tell you incredible, absolutely incredible, of Asterix and Obelix. And I can't find it again. I wish I could find it. It was a combination of stop motion and claymation, which was incredible. And by the way, MTV used to use claymation and stop motion stuff all the time for their intros and their like little bumpers and stuff like that. So I wish we would see more of that. I really do.
Yeah.
It can be done. Listen, if we're looking for Oscar-winning performances, a different stuff. But if you're trying to convey something, a real quick message or something, it can be done. I don't know why they're not going by that route. Who knows? Everything has a way of going cyclical.
All right, I had to check on my Devils score. Devils came back to whoop the Capitals and OT.
I think a lot of it has to do with it being a tangible thing. Like you can tell that a stop motion animation is an actual thing moving.
Yeah.
Same with practical effects in, say, The Thing. Like the difference between that and a lot of like modern horror is the CG just doesn't look real. Doesn't matter what they do. Whereas the thing isn't real. I know it's not real, but it looks like a tangible thing that exists, and that's where the trick comes in and helps your mind.
Well, the beauty behind the
It
stop
doesn't distract
motion,
you from what's going on. I'm
It-
sorry.
it-
Go ahead, buddy.
the beauty behind the stop motion is there is no necessity to make it look real. It's putting it on the line. Everybody knows it's not real.
Yeah.
It is being able to tell a great story or a great thought using that animation, and that's the
Right.
beauty of that. You know, you're not spending you're not thinking that this thing moving around is a real human being. We all know that it is a Funko Pop, but if you put it all in like tick 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 tick, and you start doing all those motions, you're looking at something that is fake, that is moved in a very almost what's the word, very musical kind of way, and it's something, it's a lost art. You have to be a very good director and have a mind to be able to visualize fake things, suspending the thought of reality, you
And
know?
make them threatening or sympathetic at the same time while knowing they're fake. Because Ray Harryhausen can make you feel bad for a made up creature.
Oh,
Absolutely.
he was fantastic. I mean, those movies. All right, some of the movies are not the tightest films, I would say. Like you can look at your watch a few times whilst you're watching them, but in those action sequences with those stop motion animations, there's nothing quite like them. Like, even though you know it's all ridiculous and like it can't possibly happen, they don't even look real. They're just magical. It's they're a real treat.
You're just having the best time while you're watching it, and it doesn't matter. You're just completely engaged.
You know, look at the Christmas and the holiday type of stop motion that was made. As dated as it is, it's very watchable. You know, you kind of spend yourself from reality at that point when you're watching it, and you're not saying that these animations they're old style and I don't like the way they look. You kind of forget it and you go into like a childlike thought process when you're watching, and that's the beauty of that stop motion. I'm a very big fan of that. Very, very big fan of that. So I'd love to see it make a comeback, and I believe that one day, just like everything else, when it goes full circle, you'll see more of that come out again.
I think so, because there's just, as much as I love the way movies can be presented today and the quality of them and that it can look photorealistic, there's a sense of adventure that's missing in some films today that I just miss. And I don't know if it's because I'm just old now and I could get that sense of adventure as a kid, or if it was because of how the movies were made then.
A little bit both, probably.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's for me, I've always got there's one thing that I always have trouble with in modern films. It's the color timing, because they always alter the shade of whatever scene they're in to make it look like it's dipped in a tea bag, or it's like very, very blue or purple. It's not done through actual lights, or anything like that, and it's often done for no real reason, I find, and that always reminds me that I'm watching a movie. If you see what I mean, it's a weird disconnect I have. Whereas stuff from the 80s, for instance, if you're just thinking about it, like that there was color timing differences, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't all digitally done, so it all looks exactly the same homogenizedness. That's a word. Like a horror movie today always looks the same sort of.
Right, you always had the one drag away scene of the person screaming.
Right.
Well, it's not so much about the scenes, but how they look.
Right.
I got the colors. Yeah, it's like that. I don't know. I'm rambling.
Well, I understand exactly what you're saying. I mean, ever since like the quality of video and digital video has changed, I guess, the landscape of cinematography. I was one of the people that actually did not enjoy 4K when it first came out. I didn't like the fact that it looked too real. I didn't like the fact that I could see like everything clearly as if they're sitting next to me. I like the element of the graininess and a little bit of the old film feel when you were watching it. It took me a real long time to be able to get the feel of that. However, I know that down the line something will happen. It'll evolve cinema or video quality to another level. Maybe it'll look like it's popping out a little bit. Maybe it'll look a little more three-dimensional going forward. Maybe it'll take us time to adjust our way of appreciating. So every era has its different feel, and at that time when it comes out, we're feeling like it's what's engaging us and feeling the best. When you're watching horror movies in the 80s, that was the best you could possibly get at that point, and we had nothing better to compare it to. So it's an evolving process. I'm a big cinema buff. Like besides like being I'm into a lot of shit. But
I'm into a lot of shit.
Don't worry, Panda's got a lot of shit for you tonight.
so
I got a lot of shit. I got a lot of shit.
I could talk your ear off as far as cinema and that kind of stuff. Like when I was a kid and I was going through high school, I wanted to become a special effects artist.
Awesome.
Tom Savini was actually one of my heroes. I was like, I want to be just like this guy. I want to create like monsters out of plastic and plaster on people's faces and do that kind of stuff. It didn't work too well for me because I needed to pay for bills. So, I couldn't afford to be a struggling artist in my car. But hell, who knows? Who knows? If I was willing to do that, maybe I could have been a freaking weird sci-fi guy. I don't know, but I love that stuff. I studied it, I enjoyed it, and I still do. So, you guys ever want to have a powwow about effects and cinema and stuff like that? I'd love to do that.
Oh, we definitely could. Let's get to final. Let's go around the horn. We'll get to final questions, and then we'll see what's coming up for
What
everybody.
happened? Is narcolepsy hitting you? Is that
Yes.
what's happening?
It's hitting me.
Yeah, well, that and I got to get up early to get my kid to school.
All right.
I can't.
Yeah.
I can't go to school. Oh, yeah, I'm just bringing my kid now. I was talking to CJ.
Yeah. CJ, I'm not gonna lie. What's that?
I was just talking about school. Pando, why don't you start, man? Last in, last question.
Oh, yeah, I was gonna say because I no lie, I gotta go take a shit. So, last question here, CJ, man, it has always been a pleasure watching your torso online. And I know that there's a lot of people that have not seen your face, and I think the mystique that you've brought upon when you first arrived, watching your lives when there was only 5 of us in there. You remember that, CJ, back in the day?
Me jumping in. Oh, yeah.
And just jumping in and just like saying what's up, and you putting people out there and just putting the link out there, not even giving a F.
I remember jumping in on a couple of those with them.
Yeah, dude, joining you on those early ones, CJ, it was awesome. But there was also that mystique about you because you didn't show your face. But we got, we didn't have anything to distract us, like the shit behind us or the facial expressions that I have. I have your word, and I can feel what you're saying. You know what I mean? By not even having to read your facial expressions. You do it all with your body. And I don't know if there's a question in what I'm saying other than the dick sucking that I'm doing right now.
I didn't hear one.
I just wanted.
No, leave him alone. He's complimenting me.
It's just an appreciation comment.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was about to say, look, CJ's like, he'll get to it. Let him finish. Let him finish.
Yeah, no problem.
Well, no, no, CJ, and that's one of the things that I just now realize is that when you said you wanted to be a special effects person, the thing that I like about you is that you do the same thing that I do. When I talk with my hands. You're animated. So when you feel passionate about something, you see it with the way that you get excited and animated. And I get more into what you're saying because I don't have other shit distracting me like, this over here in the background or whatever. It's just amazing. And so I like I said, I don't know if I have a question. It's just I think it's just been amazing to be able to do what you do,
Okay.
Well, I
and
appreciate
hold
your
captive
commentary.
audience.
I definitely appreciate your commentary on glorifying me. I do appreciate that very much. But I do appreciate you and everybody on the panel here as far as what everybody brings to the table. I mean, I'm just trying to bring hand art to a different media. Like there is a small group, a niche group of hand artists out there, and I am trying to enlighten the world as far as hand talking. So I'm happy. I'm happy that I'm sharing that with the rest of the world. And if you want to keep talking about how great I am, don't worry. I'm not going to stop you. Gary won't stop you. I appreciate that.
Well,
All right, Jim,
we'll
do
go
you have a
backstage
final
and we'll do
question?
that.
Yeah. I did have one question. What was there I'm guessing what was your process for getting all these different people to come on and do your influencer show? Because I'm always curious about that. Some people are very, you have to book it 6 months in advance. I'm too busy. Some are like, I can be there tomorrow. Did you have to do a lot of emailing? Was that an email thing, or how did you go about getting that started?
Okay, so here's the thing. All right. You got a couple of minutes on this because I think this is very important for
Go
not
ahead.
only this question
Yeah.
but for the community as well. One of the biggest reasons I'm doing this influencer series is to bring larger and smaller channels together in a different way, where you kind of be introduced to the larger channels, and sometimes the larger channels are introduced to a lot of the characters that we have in our smaller channels as well. So
Right.
it's a way to kind of like bring everybody together in a way where it hasn't been done so before. So that part of it was my thought process of why I wanted to do it. Now, approaching them, you'll be shocked how receptive people will be when you approach them. A lot of times people will say they're too big and they will not even send them a message. You got to start by initiating. You need to send that person a DM on Instagram or an email if they have that available. Or if you run into them in a con, you can't be like, this person's like a YouTube famous. And by the way, everybody's perception on what YouTube famous is bullshit. 500, 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 subscribers means shit in the big picture of YouTube.
It does.
Right.
You got people out there that have multiple millions of subs. All right, they I would call YouTube famous.
Sure.
So somebody that's got a 50,000 subscriber channel, it's just like you and me. The only difference is you have more people following the bullshit that they're talking about. Your bullshit's not as engaging as theirs, or they haven't come across your bullshit yet. And maybe one day they will. But you have to go and engage them. And here's the thing. You send them a DM and they don't answer. A lot of these guys are busy. They're not only making content, they're not making content only on their channels and social media. They're probably doing a job as well. Or
they're running a business.
Or maybe they have life. Maybe they have kids. Maybe they have this. They can't keep up with it. You know what? You send another message. You'll engage with them sooner or later. Now, are some of them divas? Yes. And will they give you a freaking pain in the ass to get them on for an interview? Yes, that does happen. And there are people that do it. But some of them because of their highly evolved schedules, and some of them just because they're a pain in the ass. So you just have to be, a little bit not aggressive. You gotta say, hey, look at me. You gotta say, look at me.
Look at me.
Full
Well, I
circle.
knew
Look at me.
the premise behind it. Like you were trying to, marry them to understand. Hey, there are other channels out here that don't have 25,000 people that are really cool, and I like that idea that you came up with. I was just curious about really the process of the steps of how you went forward with it, and that's fine. Let's get it to DVH. I'm sure he's got one lined up.
Well, is that pretty self-explanatory?
It is, and I appreciate it.
Yeah.
And here's the thing: you go to the cons and you run across them. Go say hello.
I say hello to everybody.
Go say hello. And you know what? You might go into front of somebody that's like has a major channel or something like that, and you go and say hello to them, and they might be like, "Who the fuck are you?" You know what? You tell them who the fuck you are. You tell them I'm fucking Dick or Jim. And
I think that'd be weird if I said that.
Hey, look, Jim keeps digging until they get him with the restraining order. Then he's got to stop leaving.
And that's always been my approach as well. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've had people say, "Who the hell are you?" kind of thing. Who the hell am I? Who are you? I'm a comic journey. And then
the real
comic journey.
The real.
Listen, I had to add the real in front of my name because there's a lot of talk about real and fake comic book community. So I want to make sure everybody fully understands that I am the real comic journey, and I'm not the imitation.
Yeah, yeah.
But on Instagram, your new comic journey.
That's because my IP has been stolen. They stole my name. They're running around amok with my comic journey name, and I'm the new comic journey.
At least they left you your hands.
Yeah.
What was our first topic of the day? What was our first topic of the day? I can't remember. What were we talking about? Something about legal actions, taking stuff, right?
Copyrights and everything.
Yeah, that's.
Copyright was one of them.
Don't
DVH,
worry,
did
I'm
you have a
not talking
question?
about
Well, I was just going to ask, like, what have you got coming up on the Influence series?
Well, right now I'm in the process of trying to lock, because I got a couple of divas again, like I mentioned, that are giving me the runaround as far as settling on a date. And the funny thing is, in order to get one person to commit, I need to get other people to commit so that I could have them I got some divas, they want to come on together, and because they don't want to be on the spot by themselves. No problem. We'll do it that way. But I've got some good names coming up. I do have some really good names. Some ones that you might be familiar with, some ones that you might not be familiar with, and I'm actually more excited about the ones that you're not familiar with, to introduce them to you. Channels that have 200 and 300 subscribers on there, 1,000 subscribers on it, that you might have never even heard of.
Right.
These are the ones that I'm most excited about to introduce to everybody. So I'm hoping within the next 2 weeks or so, I'm hoping to have them on there. However, in the meantime, I was supposed to start last week. I was really sick last week and I couldn't do it. But I'm going to start as soon as possible doing an opposite series. And this series is basically going to be called "Who the Hell Are You?" And it's going to take the smaller channels, mostly sub 1,000 sub channels, and we're going to try to introduce them to the community and get people to know a little bit about who the hell these people are.
Why should we look at you show, basically?
Yeah, basically.
Right.
And the key criteria for you to be on the show would be to be actually stimulating and interesting to me. If you're not, I'm sorry, you're not going to be on it. Also, because I have had people actually ask me to be on it. Yeah, I've had people. It's funny. I've had 200 sub channels come to me and ask me to be on the influencer series, which I'm like, dude, you're a nice guy. How the fuck do you want me to be on? You want me to put you on right after Gem Min? Does that make any sense to you? Well, did you do something controversial? Did you steal an artist's wife or something? I'll put you on. No problem with you. If you're gonna have a small channel, you gotta at least you gotta
have a hook.
You gotta give me something, man.
Right. You gotta do something. That's funny.
So that's why I'm
Right.
creating the other series in order to give a platform for smaller channels to actually introduce themselves. And even in that case, you got to have an interesting channel. If you're one of these assholes, you're not getting on. Sorry.
I thought he was pointing at me while I was typing. If I'm one,
Yeah.
you're an asshole like that. Gary.
No, you would know if I'm pointing at you like that. But no, if you're one of these assholes that all you do is pull out a fucking thing and say, "Oh, and this is what I got today." Yeah. Thank you for joining me. You know that if you're one of those channels, you're not getting on. I'm sorry. Sorry, I might love you. I might want to have a beer with you, or a cup of coffee with you, or hang out and bullshit with you, or go to the strip car with you. But I'm not going to have you on my channel because you're going to bore the shit out of me. You know.
My final question for you, CJ. It's really simple. It's something I always like to know about people. For you, I'm going to make it cinema related. What is your favorite guilty pleasure movie? Something like Night of the Comet, something like that. Like, what is your favorite guilty pleasure movie?
Caligula.
The unrated version, Panda.
You know, I really, I don't know. This is actually a good movie. It's not a bad movie. Ed Wood, I love. I could watch that any day, all day. It's one of my favorite movies, by far my favorite Johnny Depp movie ever made. But as far as guilty, like really stupid movie that nobody should like, but I love, Killer Clowns from Outer Space, probably.
Oh, my kid's favorite movie.
Oh,
That's a classic.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
That is.
I could watch it and just laugh by myself like an idiot.
Yeah.
Watching that over and over again. That and Police Academy.
Yeah, I love it.
Police Academy for sure.
Just 1 through 3.
Michael
Yeah.
Winslow.
It's got to be one. You start to get. I guess number 2 was okay when Bobcat was a bad guy, when he was a gangster.
I think they're all great up until Mission to Moscow. Mission to Moscow.
That's up to
just
number 4.
painful.
They're all watchable. They're all enjoyable.
I saw Bobcat Goldthwait live here, and he was not funny live. I was so disappointed. I thought I was going to be rolling the whole night, and it was cringy.
Well, you know what it is. He tried to go from the Sam Kinison school,
Right.
and the thing is, there was a reason why Sam Kinison was so funny. He was the originator of that, like
Scream.
really angry, screaming style thing, and at the same time, you felt like it came from the heart. With Bobcat, it was a gimmick. He was a character actor. It worked for what he did, but there's a reason why he didn't have a prestigious cinematic career.
Right.
So, he'd be like, "Oh, like right now it's time to throw it."
That's why he made his version of Mr. Ed, where he's talking to a horse. Like these are the kind of movies he made. He was good as a side actor, like
Right. So somewhere,
a big collab.
Somewhere,
Yeah.
him and Pauly Shore are having a beer together.
Oh, he's another. He's actually worse. I think Pauly Shore is, even though he's more original than Bobcat, he's not as watchable as Bobcat for me.
Right. All right, so we're going to see what's going on with everyone. Before we wrap up, we're going to start with DVH because he's got a low battery. So, Mr. Von Hoots, what is coming up for you, sir?
Well, as I said at the beginning, tomorrow night, doing my 200 sub giveaway live. And I even looked up what the actual times are as well. 11 p.m. for the UK, which is 6 p.m. Eastern and 3 p.m. Pacific.
Nice.
That's sufficient of me, isn't it? I did it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be giving away probably a couple of mugs and also a mystery box. So, it should be fun. And I'm going to give it away just to the chat because I just think like the chat's awesome. It's really cool that they come and hang out. Like,
there you go.
Right.
Everybody here tonight, just really cool. It's
Congrats.
Really...
So, Panda, what's coming up for you besides a whole bunch of shit in your future?
Actually, after that, I got no shit. Like I said, man, I've just been really busy with everything. If I can jump on live, I can jump on live. If you want to watch some of my old stuff, I'm actually going to do kind of like a hangout tomorrow, but it's just going to be me talking, just because I got shit I got to do. I'm a pretty busy guy nowadays. You know, kids are growing up, and you know, I just don't want to miss a lot of shit. And as much as I love hanging out with you guys all the time, like I I I'm starting to scale back in the times that I'm actually on my own channel.
Right.
But I love hanging out, and that's always been one of the things that I loved about my channel was my Sunday mail call and hangout, because anybody came on, and that's exactly how I found Comic Journey. Was somebody was telling me that here's this new guy, he's doing it the same thing, and I think he was actual Dracula. We used to come on to CJ's early lives when there was like 3 of us at 2 o'clock in the morning. It was fucking wild. So that's the kind of shit I like to do. I like to be random. You guys already know. You guys heard me all day today. Shit is random. I don't know what's going on up here. So to have a schedule like these guys, you guys see these guys. They're organized. They're awesome. They're funny. I'm here because I have a brain fart in lapse of judgment. So people like seeing that.
Well, I'm the last person you would call organized, but I hope that you do some rectal cleansing tomorrow during that stream. I think we're all looking forward to that, and hopefully you start streaming every so often. Yeah, I understand you got life. You know, enough of you freaking comic book freaks. But yeah, join us once in a while. It's fun. You know.
Can one of my moderators please drop DVH's link in the chat?
I'm trying to do that right now, but it's not.
Panda, we miss you.
Oh, miss you guys
it
too,
just
man.
did.
I got it. I'm sharing.
Dr. Von Hoot should be good.
And it was
I'm sharing
great
it
actually
now.
seeing you tonight and having you on, Adrian. When you popped in, I was like, yes.
Hey, I'm glad, man, and that's what I love. For those of you that are just now finding Gary's channel and finding all these wonderful people here, Gary is one of the most wonderful people to start doing all this stuff and just giving me the access to just come on whenever it is, not giving me grief that I haven't said anything within the last 8 months in that chat. But you know what I mean? Like, that's the kind of guy that Gary is. It's just, no matter how long I've been away, just talking to Gary, it's like we just talked yesterday. You know what I mean? It just, you pick up. It's
That's how
cheers
guys
all
do it.
over.
That's a guy trait. Guys can do that.
Yeah. And definitely your channel always made me feel like it's cheers, because a new character comes in, somebody gets introduced, and we all stick around to see who's all coming through, and we all stay here. And
But you were here for the new guy tonight. I dragged Dr. Von Hoots in.
You know what? That's a really great way to put it. Your channel does feel like cheers. It definitely does. Who's Cliff? Who's that asshole that knows everything? Who's that guy that's there's
you?
No, I don't know everything. No, I don't know. And
that's Anachronic Comics.
Oh,
there you go.
Wow. You just go like that. Wow.
You just
Joe knows I love him.
I can see Joe right now going, I don't know whether or not to be mad or just, yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
Bruno's already on the way to the house.
Yeah, he's going to get taken down for sure.
Yeah.
All right, Jim, what's coming up for you, sir?
I don't have anything in the hopper. I have hoping to meet up. I'm trying to get a location. Fingers crossed. I go and start begging. There's a place I'm trying to metal detect that's got some old ground, but it's kind of owned by another apartment place, and I don't know if they're going to be as easy going. But I'm going to try to work my charm so I can get an okay to go there so I can shoot some footage, because I think I might could find some really cool stuff over there. And then I do have something in the hopper where I think I'm gonna do a review of the Shogun Warriors.
Ooh, I love Shogun Warriors. One of my
Ooh.
favorite. I've read
Yeah,
that a couple. I
so
love Shogun Warriors.
I want to do a read through, and then come out, and maybe I'll have you on and we'll do one together or something. But it's just go back to the nostalgia thing, like CJ was saying. I mean, these are, man, I wanted one of those so bad as a kid. God, when those things came out, had that big 6-foot Godzilla with it, and you had those. My parents would never get them. I was so pissed. But that's it.
Coming up on my show next Tuesday, we have, like I said, Pandawesome IG. This Saturday, catch Stephanie and I live for Savage Saturday Comic Review, where we're reviewing art this week by Nestor Redondo, a portfolio from him. And that's what's coming up for me. CJ, what is coming up on your channel, sir?
Well, because I'm a devious fucker, I dropped a WTF video while this stream was going on. So now that everybody can leave this, they could go and watch it and enjoy another monstrosity of a thing I found on the YouTube. So, you're welcome, people. You're going to watch that. We will be having more of that coming down the line. Insomniacs, they happen when Insomniac comes. That's the beautiful thing about the Insomniac comic book theater. It's when I can't sleep. That's when I do it. If I'm not doing it, I'm probably sleeping. So so it works like that. So there is no time frame on that. We'll be doing more of that public domain stuff that we're talking about, and who knows? Who knows what the hell else I'm going to be doing? It's just like Rowdy Piper. Just when you think you have all the answers, I change the questions. So I'll be floating around the way I normally do, and we'll see. And I will be going to Heroes Con as well.
Yes.
So if you are interested in seeing live footage and commentary on people from our community, I will be doing that. I will be streaming as much live as I humanly can from that location, and I will be criticizing everybody in a very neutral way. If they're, you'll know who is really like the way they are, if they're different in reality and that kind of thing. I'm going to unmask the comic community when I'm there, So if somebody's a douchebag, you're gonna know they're a douchebag. If somebody actually is really a nice guy, but they look like a douchebag, you're gonna know they're a really nice guy.
Well, that's why I'm not going. I don't want to get called out live.
I don't care.
If somebody,
I got nothing to worry about.
If somebody looks like a complete, like in the basement nerd, you're like, oh my god, this guy's like a introvert, and all of a sudden becomes a party animal. You got to know that too. All right, so
oh no, this guy's Jeffrey Dahmer.
You're gonna have some special stuff coming down the line.
All right.
I don't want to be going.
We're gonna wrap this up. What I got to do at the end of my show, and thank my co-hosts first and always, because I can't do this without my co-hosts. They're the ones who add the flavor to my shows and make it what it is, having the different perspectives.
I just want to say thanks very much for inviting me. Like it came out of nowhere earlier, and I was like, oh wow, that's really cool of you. And it was a pleasure. All of you.
Don't worry, still making your last time. You're welcome to come back.
Yeah.
Gary, I want to thank you
the hooks now, DVH.
Right?
See, Gary, I want to absolutely thank you too for having me on the show. Even though I wasn't your first choice to be on the show today, even though I wasn't the first choice to be on, thank you. I appreciate you. And even though it took you like 5 years to get me on the freaking usual the hot seat, thank you. I appreciate you, and I appreciate everybody else in the panel as well. We always have to say thank you to everybody, and thank you to the chat for sitting through this.
Especially thank you to the chat; they were great tonight.
Yeah, they were.
And for all of you guys that are watching on the rewind, we appreciate that as well, because these shows do really good on the rewind. So thank you to all the people that catch these shows afterward. And as I like to end these things, keep it casual.